The story began in Shanghai City. Inside the house, a mother cradled her newborn baby, expressing how lucky he was to sleep peacefully after feeding, while she had lost much rest caring for him. Though exhausted, she felt it was worth it as long as he grew up healthy. The baby Lin Zichen quietly absorbed energy while feeding. Inside, he realized he had been reincarnated into the body of a newborn whose brain wasn't even fully developed. Soon, a status window appeared, showing his name, age of 33 days, and ordinary biological level with no attributes. He understood then that he possessed a cheat ability. At 3 months old, his mother admired how well behaved he was, and his father remarked that he was clearly gifted, and would one day either become a powerful gene fuser or at least a cyborg. During this time, Lin Zichen completed his first system task by kicking his legs 10,000 times. He gained the ability use and advance, which strengthened any body part he trained continuously. While feeling his strength increase little by little, he wondered about the meaning of gene fusers and cyborgs, comparing them in his mind to heroes like Spider-Man or Iron Man. By 4 months, he had already learned to sit and crawl. To avoid alarming his parents with such rapid progress, he only trained secretly at night, gaining vitality, coordination, and crawling proficiency. At 5 months, he managed to walk on his own and noted with pride how early he had achieved it. By 6 months, he felt it was safe to reveal some progress to his parents. Sitting with them on the couch, he showed he could sit and crawl without difficulty. While watching the news, he learned more about the world. Reports spoke of aberrant beasts, terrifying creatures born from Earth's mutation. To resist them, humanity had split into 2 forces: cyborgs who relied on advanced technology, and gene fusers who modified their genes for power. Realizing this Earth was different from the one he had known before, he understood the danger that surrounded him. Even so, Lin Zichen reminded himself that he had a system of his own. To survive, he would need to grow steadily, stay hidden, and continue evolving in this harsh world. One day, a new neighbor arrived. She introduced herself as Zhu Meng, bringing a housewarming gift and explaining she lived right next door. With her were her husband Shen Jianai and their young daughter Shen Qinghen. For Lin Zichen, this girl became his very first friend in this new world, though at the time he had no idea that their futures would become tightly connected. At 7 months old, his growth was astonishing. He could already run, gaining improvements in vitality, coordination, speed, and technique. He soon moved on to jumping, developing strong leg muscles, higher leaps, and refined technique. He even practiced speaking to himself, which increased his spirit, expression, and language skills. By now, thanks to the use and advance ability, he had mastered basic skills like running, jumping, and language. At 8 months, he pushed himself further, managing sit-ups and push-ups. But he only dared to train like this when his parents weren't around. Eventually, his mother walked in unexpectedly and was shocked to see her baby doing sit-ups. Confused, she wondered aloud what was happening. To reassure herself, she convinced her mind it was just a hallucination brought on by stress from writing her novels. Taking advantage of this, Lin Zichen pretended to sleep, secretly relieved he had fooled her for now. A few days later, while bathing him, his mother suddenly called for her husband in alarm. She had noticed that their baby already had visible abs at only 8 months old. His father rushed over, stunned, and thought about how Chenshin already had a huge appetite. Now, combined with defined muscles, it all seemed too extraordinary. After piecing things together, he declared that their son must be a rare prodigy. Certain he had a bright future ahead and would most likely become a gene fuser or at the very least, a cyborg. Lin Zichen silently acknowledged how close his secret had come to being exposed. Thankfully, his father's imagination had provided the perfect explanation. Having web novel authors for parents, he thought, was unexpectedly convenient. Later, as he watched television with his mother, he learned that he was not the only genius in this mutated world. News reported about a gifted young boy in the capital city's martial arts army, who at just 2 years old could already lift a 20-kilogram dumbbell with one hand. His mother proudly praised him, convinced he would never fall behind those so-called prodigies from elite families. Hearing this, Zichen thought to himself that she truly had good judgment, though he quietly wondered if he would really be able to lift 20 kilograms by the time he turned 2. When he reached that age, he proved himself right. With the help of his system and relentless training, he could easily lift 20 kilograms with just one hand. But just as he celebrated his progress, he was startled when his neighbor called out, announcing that Hanhan had come over to play. Though reluctant, Zichen stepped outside and soon came face to face with Shen Qinghen. At 2 years old, she still spoke like a baby and wasn't very clear in her words. She handed him a tart, which he accepted politely. Despite their differences, the two stuck together. Han often clung to him, and Zichen used her small size as extra weight for his training, carrying her on his back during exercises. Still, there was one problem: sometimes his weighted vest would leak, leaving him exasperated. By the age of 3, his strength had grown even more. He was now able to lift 40 kilograms with one hand, surpassing even the capital's prodigy who had been making headlines. Seeing the news, Zichen realized he was already stronger than that child had been at the same age. Even so, his biological level still remained at ordinary tier 1, despite his use and advance ability. This left him questioning just how powerful someone at ordinary tier 2 might be, and how far human limits could actually stretch. For the first time, he finally stepped outside into the wider world. On the streets, he saw strange figures, mutants and cyborgs that must have been the gene fusers and cyborgs he had heard about. Curious, he decided the best place to find answers was the library, since his parents didn't allow him to use electronic devices freely. Together with his mother, Zhu Meng, and Shen Qinghen, they visited the library. Zichen's mother and Zhu Meng were curious why he enjoyed reading such books. They assumed it must be because he had inherited genius traits. Even when Han tried offering him cookies, Zichen refused politely, saying he preferred to read. Through these books, Zichen gained a deeper understanding of the mutated world. Records from ancient ruins explained that living beings were divided into 6 biological levels: ordinary, advanced, rare, epic, legendary, and mythical. Each of these levels had further subdivisions, showing just how vast the gap was between the lowest and the highest. Realizing this, Zichen understood that as someone still at the ordinary stage, he was barely stronger than an ant compared to the higher tiers. He decided he needed to train harder while staying low. Otherwise, surviving in this dangerous world would be impossible. At 4 years old, Zichen's system assigned him a new task: to train not only his body but also his mind through reading. This gave him the ability to accumulate knowledge and comprehension rapidly. Around this time, he also started kindergarten. His homeroom teacher, Miss Jiang Mei, guided the class as Zichen attended alongside Shen Qinghen. Soon after, Zichen advanced to ordinary tier 2. His physical abilities skyrocketed. He could lift 80 kilograms with one hand, jump as high as 1.2 meters, and sprint 100 meters in under 11 seconds. But with great power came responsibility. When Qinghen was bullied in kindergarten and mocked as a bedwetter, Zichen couldn't ignore it. He stepped in, declaring that anyone who dared to bully her would face him. His bold words terrified the children, who immediately backed off in fear. That incident triggered a system reward. He completed his quest and earned the title Kindergarten Kid King. For the first time, Zichen realized he could complete multiple quests at once, which meant even greater progress. Half a year later, his efforts paid off. He completed the reading quest and received the Celestial Root of Wisdom attribute. From then on, his learning ability reached its peak, surpassing even normal human limits. Time passed quickly. Before long, both he and Qinghen were nearly 7 years old, preparing to graduate from kindergarten together. Before starting elementary school, Zichen spent his vacation training even harder. He was able to lift 200 kilograms, break a 2-meter jump, and even run 100 meters in under 8 seconds, thanks to the Celestial Root of Wisdom. He also completed most of the elementary school curriculum ahead of time, aiming to earn the title of Elementary School Top Dog. When he officially began at Sunshine Elementary, his school life was much easier compared to others. Competitions felt simple since he had already studied ahead. He quickly rose to the top, winning awards in academics. But his real focus remained on unlocking his system's next title. Outside of his studies, he often used his free time to tutor Shen Qinghen. Though she wasn't naturally gifted, her diligence and bright personality allowed her to rank second in the class right behind Zichen, who always held first place. To unlock the title faster, Zichen also joined every school sports event, smashing records one after another. A transfer student arrived in his class by Zhu. While Shen Qinghen admired her beauty, Zichen was more concerned with what that aura meant. He wondered if she might be a gene fuser, or perhaps a descendant of one. Despite the curiosity she sparked, Bai Zhu remained distant. She avoided interaction, rarely spoke, and often stayed motionless at her desk once classes ended. At first, the whole class was intrigued by her, but as the days passed, her silence only deepened the mystery surrounding her. At first, Bai Zhu's distant behavior made her classmates curious, but over time, they lost interest and left her alone. For more than a month, she remained quiet, until something unusual happened. She began secreting a strange white liquid that carried a foul odor. The other students noticed and mocked her, saying she no longer seemed pure. the bullying escalated, with one boy even pouring water over her, pretending to help clean her. Baizu clenched her fists, trembling, while the class laughed at her humiliation. Watching this unfold, Shen Qinghan worried for her and asked Zichen to step in. Zichen agreed. He walked forward, his presence alone silencing the bullies. Fixing his gaze on one of them, he ordered him to wipe the water off Baizu's desk. The boy, terrified, quickly obeyed. Then Zichen demanded that everyone who bullied Baizu apologize immediately. None dared refuse. One by one they apologized, promising never to bully her again, even though Zichen still didn't fully understand Baizu's mysterious aura. At that moment she was just a girl who needed protection, and with him standing by her side, no one in the class dared to touch her again. After being defended by Zichen and Shen Qinghan, Baizu finally opened up. She thanked them sincerely, her voice trembling with gratitude. Qinghan warmly reassured her that classmates should help one another, and from that day on, she tried to befriend Baizu, often pulling Zichen along with her. Whenever Baizu had snacks, she would share them with her new friends. Yet deep down, she still struggled with insecurity. She worried aloud about her smell, asking if they were disgusted by her. Qinghan firmly rejected the idea, telling her she would never think that way and promising their bond would last forever. Zichen too stood by quietly, making her feel included. For Baizu, who had always been isolated and rejected, their kindness felt like a dream. Tears welled up as she accepted their friendship. In return, she gave them a gift, a necklace with beast fangs, a precious present from her mother, hoping it would symbolize their everlasting bond. The three promised to be friends forever, shouting it out with joy. For a while, their days were filled with warmth and companionship. But just as Qinghan thought this happiness would last, news broke that Baizu had suddenly transferred away, leaving behind confusion and sadness. Zichen confirmed that he personally saw Baizu filling out the withdrawal papers. Later, he witnessed her leaving the principal's office accompanied by a powerful-looking man, her information kept confidential. Watching from the sidelines, he realized her identity was far from ordinary. From that day on, she vanished from their lives, becoming just a fleeting memory of their childhood. Life moved forward. At home, Zichen continued to train both body and mind. Using his knowledge, he even learned professional massage techniques, surprising his mother with how effective they were. But soon, his attention shifted when news began reporting on a young prodigy from Kyoto. This boy had already undergone gene fusion at the age of 10 and displayed overwhelming strength, even lifting a massive boulder with one hand. Zichen compared the prodigy's feats with his own progress. Without any gene fusion, he was already capable of lifting incredible weight, proving that his potential might be even greater. Still, he understood what it meant to be pressured by such competition. But before he could focus on his own path, breaking news flashed on the screen. A neighboring country had been struck by a devastating aberrant beast attack. Eyewitness footage revealed swarms of giant aberrant rats wreaking havoc in the city. Among the chaos, a woman screamed for help as one of the monstrous creatures lunged at her, its jaws snapping shut. The investigation confirmed that heretics were behind the recent aberrant rat attack, secretly fanning the flames from the shadows. During a press conference, it was revealed that the so-called cult was an anti-human organization created by traitors to humanity. For their own selfish goals, they had allied with aberrant beasts and launched attacks on the world. The official speaking called upon other nations to aid secure a country in exterminating these heretics together. Meanwhile, Zichen reflected that he was fortunate to be born in a powerful nation. The country provided stability, which gave him an environment where he could lay low and continue to get stronger. His eyes widened as the sound of sonic booms echoed outside his window. Curious and cautious, he walked over, pulled the curtain aside, and saw squads of official cyborgs flying through the night sky. Watching this, he hoped nothing bad was about to happen. The next morning, Zichen left home and met Shen Qinghan, who greeted him with an apology for making him wait. As they walked together, her beast fang suddenly began to glow. Surprised, Zichen pointed it out, recognizing it as the fang of an aberrant beast. Shen Qinghan held it up as it emitted a faint aura. The glow only lasted for a moment, and they chose not to think too much of it. Still, Zichen couldn't ignore the connection between the cyborgs gathering the night before and the sudden glow of the fang. He felt a growing unease that something was about to happen. As Zichen and Shen Qinghan walked, the woman admired them, calling them adorable and asking if they were siblings. Shen Qinghen quickly clarified that they were not brother and sister, but childhood friends who were also best friends. The woman smiled, admitting she was jealous and wished she had a childhood friend too. Then, with a sly expression, she asked if they were going to school by themselves and where their parents were. Zichen grabbed her hand and told her firmly to stop talking. He pulled her away, reminding her they would be late, and the two of them hurried off. On the way, Zichen warned her not to answer every question a stranger asked. Shen Qinghen nodded, saying she understood. Later after school, the two walked through a quiet alley. Shen Qinghen commented that it felt creepy, but Zichen explained the whole area was scheduled for demolition. And since everyone had already moved out, it was naturally silent. Just then, the woman reappeared, revealing she had been waiting for them. Speaking into a device, she informed someone named Sheng that she had found the kids. Zichen realized she had followed them even though he deliberately took a different route home to avoid her. The woman tried to act friendly, offering to take them to her place for treats. A man beside her mocked her for talking too much and suggested they just knock the kids out and drag them away. He rushed forward, shouting that he was in a hurry to sell them for cash. Before the thug could grab them, Zichen stepped forward and unleashed a powerful punch, sending the man flying. The woman watched in disbelief, shocked that an elementary schooler could strike down a grown man. Zichen didn't stop there, he immediately charged at her, his fist striking with explosive force. After striking down the thugs, Zichen clenched his fist tightly. He realized there were no adults or authorities nearby, which meant if he wanted to protect Shen Qinghen, he would have to finish things himself. But before he could act further, the ground began to rumble. An earthquake shook the alley, leaving Zichen and Shen Qinghen startled. Looking up, their eyes widened as a giant aberrant rat appeared, its monstrous form towering over the buildings. The creature roared, its massive jaws snapping as it descended upon the woman, devouring her instantly. Zichen recognized the danger immediately, pulling Shen Qinghen close and urging her to run. Carrying Shen Qinghen in his arms, Zichen dashed through the narrow streets, determined to get her to safety. Just as the rat closed in, a sonic boom split the air. A cyborg descended at incredible speed, landing between them and the beast. Shen Qinghen gasped, asking if it was really a cyborg. Zichen narrowed his eyes, realizing how fast it moved. The cyborg immediately charged energy, announcing its attack, then released anesthetic smoke bombs toward the rat. Explosions followed as the beast staggered, but the fight was far from over. The aberrant rat resisted fiercely, forcing the cyborg to continue its assault. Despite its power, the rat's strength proved overwhelming, and the battle dragged on. Watching closely, Zichen thought to himself that the female cyborg's level probably wasn't very high. He recalled his own encounter with an aberrant rat, where he had needed to weaken it with tranquilizer darts and still fought for 7 minutes in close combat to finally take it down. Zichen thought back on the fight, reminding himself how tough giant aberrant rats were to handle. They could grow over 8 meters long, and with their ferocious nature, even cyborgs usually had a hard time dealing with them. He felt fortunate that he managed to escape the danger yesterday. Still, he realized his current training intensity wasn't enough, and he needed to push himself harder. During his workouts, system notifications appeared, showing the gains from his training-weighted squats improved his vitality, leg strength, and proficiency. Though the threat of aberrant rats remained, life moved forward as usual. Not long after, Zichen and Shen Qinghen celebrated their 9th birthday together. Surrounded by family, they made their wishes, blew out the candles, and exchanged gifts. Shen Qinghen received a carved wooden hairpin from Zichen, which he had made using his celestial root of wisdom. She loved it, smiling happily as she thanked him. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, they graduated from elementary school and advanced to middle school. Zichen kept up with his intense training during the break, determined to unlock new titles and improve his abilities. He performed thousands of weighted push-ups, increasing his vitality and muscle strength. He also ran interval training, enhancing his speed, endurance, and coordination. Finally, just before school began, he managed to break through to the ordinary 3rd tier of biological level. His physical attributes rose dramatically, allowing him to perform feats like a one-handed lift of 700 kilograms, a 4-meter vertical jump, and a 6-second 100-meter dash. One night before school started, Zichen watched the news about the Kyoto prodigy, a 16-year-old who had fused with a giant ant gene and could lift a 2,000-kilogram alloy with one hand. Zichen compared his own strength, calculating that even with the prodigy's multiplier, His true strength was only about 400 kilograms with one arm. That meant Zichen was still stronger. Smirking, he thought about how exciting it would be to undergo gene fusion himself someday. Soon after, middle school officially began. As the top student of his city during elementary school, Zichen drew the attention of principals from all the top schools. During registration, even the principal and his homeroom teacher greeted him warmly, expressing high expectations for his future. Though he responded politely, Zichen decided to enroll in Shanghai Middle School, mainly because of its excellent athletic facilities and on the condition that Shen Qinghan could be in the same class as him. On their first day, Shen Qinghan excitedly suggested they play a game of badminton before classes started. Holding her racket, she called out to Zichen with a bright smile. She shouted out confidently, swinging her racket as she unleashed her move, Fairy's Curvy Ball, just as the game was heating up. A group of upperclassmen arrived and interrupted them. One of the boys claimed the court was reserved for upperclassmen only, while another smirked, saying the little junior could stay so they could take turns sparring with her. They mocked further, offering to give her one-on-one lessons if she didn't know how to play. Zichen stepped forward, his voice calm but firm, telling them to get away from her. He reminded them about the first come, first served rule. The upperclassmen sneered, refusing to acknowledge the rule, and declared that he was taking the court regardless of who was there first. He picked up the shuttlecock and declared, "My rules are the only rules." With explosive strength, he launched into a powerful shot, his movements so fast and precise that the upperclassmen had no chance to respond. The impact sent shockwaves across the court, leaving everyone stunned. The senior was thrown back in shock, trembling as he questioned whether Zichen was even human. The others whispered nervously, wondering if he might already be a gene fuser, though they quickly dismissed the thought as impossible given his age. Realizing they couldn't win, the upperclassmen quickly backed off, apologizing and saying the court was theirs now. From that day on, no one in middle school dared to bully Zichen or Shen Qinghan again. With the incident behind them, life at school felt much like it had in elementary except bigger, with better facilities. Zichen, however, remained focused on his growth. He had already completed the entire middle school curriculum long ago, so during class, he often read books of his own choosing. At night, after training, he expanded his knowledge further by studying and learning new skills online. Using his celestial root of wisdom, Zichen practiced cooking, photography, driving, swimming, wilderness survival, and other athletic abilities. To secure the middle school overlord title as quickly as possible, he not only aimed for first place in every subject, but also represented his school in numerous competitions. His efforts paid off. He collected gold, silver, and bronze medals in math, physics, chemistry, computer programming, and even athletic events. Despite his dominance, he tried to keep a low profile, balancing his achievements carefully. A semester passed quickly, though the title had not yet been unlocked. His overwhelming performance earned him recognition and popularity across the school. To his surprise, he had even gained a group of fangirls who admired him. Zichen ignored the attention from fangirls, focusing instead on tutoring Shen Qinghan and preparing for the school sports festival. He decided to enter only 3 major events: shot put, high jump, and sprinting, since these categories represented strength, agility, and speed. He believed dominating them would secure complete victory and possibly unlock the middle school overlord title. During the festival, his performance stunned the crowd. His shot put throw reached an astonishing 201 meters. His high jump displayed incredible agility, and his sprinting speed left competitors far behind. Later, while walking with Shen Qinghan, he pondered the concept of life essence, recalling what he had learned about predators who devour others to evolve. He asked her for her beast fang, which she handed over without hesitation. Using it, Zichen absorbed a trace of life essence and discovered it belonged to the abyssal giant butterfly. The system informed him that with 100% synchronization, he could evolve traits from the beast. Intrigued, he tried searching online for information about this exotic creature, but found nothing. Determined, he realized he would have to research it himself. Back at home, he dug through his belongings and found another beast fang that Baizu had given him in the past. Using it, he absorbed more essence, though it only raised his synchronization to 2%. He concluded he would need to find additional sources to fully unlock its power. The following day, Zichen started riding Shen Qinghan home from school on his bicycle. His reasoning was practical. If another giant mutant appeared, he would be able to get her to safety much faster. As Zichen rode Shen Qinghan home, a voice suddenly called out to him. It was Coach Guo from the school's martial arts team. The coach praised Zichen's record-breaking performance at the sports festival, calling it the best in the school's history. Excited, he invited Zichen to join the martial arts team, insisting that his athletic talent even surpassed his academic achievements. Before Zichen could respond, the enthusiastic coach continued, urging him to at least learn about the team before deciding. Later at home, Zichen experimented with his predator's law skill. Crushing a cockroach and smashing a mosquito yielded no results, which made him realize that only powerful exotic beasts carried life essence worth devouring. To confirm his theory, he decided to visit a supermarket known for selling beast meat. Shen Qinghan joined him, and together they biked to the city center. Inside the store, Zichen noticed plenty of beast meat, but most of it was sealed in packages, making it impossible to test his ability. Just as he was growing frustrated, he heard a vendor shouting about fresh cut beast meat. Spotting a butcher preparing it on the spot, Zichen hurried over, determined to test his theory as soon as possible. Shen Qinghan looked on, confused by his sudden urgency, but he didn't pause to explain. He placed his hand on the meat in front of him, and the truth became clear. A strong surge of energy rushed through him, confirming his thought that beast meat contained powerful life essence. Shen Qinghan, watching his reaction, wondered why he looked so excited from something as simple as touching meat. She asked if it felt different from regular meat, and Zichen explained that it only felt fresher, even asking if she wanted to try touching it too. Embarrassed, she quickly refused, saying his touch was enough. Deciding not to waste the chance, Zichen said that since they were already there, he might as well buy some to try at home. Qinghan was shocked, and he thought to himself that her reaction was no surprise, because beast meat was never cheap. Even the cheapest ghost shadow squid cost nearly 1,000 per jin. Ignoring the price, Zichen picked one and added it to their basket. Qinghan nervously suggested he ask Aunt Zin before spending so much, but Zichen gently patted her head and told her not to worry. His mother had already asked him to bring plenty back, planning to prepare a feast for both families. At the counter, Zichen paid for 3 ghost shadow squids, the total adding up to nearly 3,000 yuan. He thought about how expensive it was and wondered when they would be able to afford it again. After completing the purchase, the cashier thanked them, and since it was already past 9, the two decided to head straight home. Things had been chaotic lately, so safety came first. Even on the way back, Zichen struggled to hold back his eagerness. He wanted to test his theory immediately, wondering if directly absorbing the life essence would spoil the meat. Looking down at the squid, he told himself that the moment of truth had finally arrived. Zichen placed his hand on the ghost shadow squid, and waves of purple lightning wrapped around him as the energy surged into his body. A system notification confirmed he had devoured a trace of the squid's life essence. In his vision, a massive squid appeared, towering over him with its countless tentacles spreading out like shadows. After the absorption, he quietly rode home with Shen Qinghan sitting on the back of his bicycle. As they moved through the streets, he thought about the results. Devouring just a small portion had only unlocked 0.1% of the squid's guidebook. He calculated that reaching 100% would require consuming 100 jin of its meat, which meant nearly 100,000 yuan. The squid's ability to move undetected underwater made it a powerful beast, and Zichen knew he couldn't let this chance slip away. But the cost weighed heavily on his mind. He wondered how he could earn that much money. Knowing he couldn't keep relying on his family, he reminded himself that his main goal was to test whether absorbing life essence would cause the meat to spoil. Watching the squid in the basket glow faintly, he saw that the meat remained intact, proving that his theory worked. The absorption rate suddenly rose to 3%, and Zichen's excitement grew. Just as he focused on the process, Shen Qinghan called out in alarm, warning him about people ahead. Distracted, Zichen nearly crashed into a group on the road. He quickly apologized, realizing he had been too caught up in his experiment to watch the way. Qinghan scolded him for forgetting to pay attention while riding. Then, she suddenly pointed toward nearby. In the distance, a muscular man was holding a woman hostage. Zichen recognized her as one of their teachers. The man shouted for others not to come closer, or he would kill her. Police and armed officers had already surrounded the area, ordering him to surrender. One officer explained the danger, warning his men not to fire recklessly. He reminded them that the suspect was a professional and could easily harm the hostage if threatened. Another suggested using knockout gas, but the squad leader shook his head. He explained that the gas was too obvious, and if the suspect noticed it before it took effect, it could drive him into more violent actions. Zichen bent down and quietly picked up a small stone. With a quick flick, he threw it at the man holding the teacher hostage. The stone struck its mark, and in the moment of distraction, the officers took their chance. They rushed forward, knocking the weapon from the man's hand and pulling the teacher to safety. From a distance, Shen Qinghan realized what had happened and looked at Zichen. She asked if he had been the one who threw the stone, but he quickly hushed her, saying they should leave and talk about it later. Just then, an officer stopped them and directly asked if the stone had been thrown by him. Caught off guard, Zichin nervously denied it. The squad leader, however, seemed more interested than suspicious. He remarked that acts of bravery were rewarded, tossing a coin into the air as he spoke. Hearing the word reward, Zichin's eyes lit up. The thought of receiving money was too important for him to ignore. He dashed forward eagerly, surprising the officer with his sudden energy. When asked again, Zichin admitted that he was the one who threw the stone. He explained that he hadn't planned to get involved, but the reward was too valuable to pass up. The squad leader acknowledged his honesty and told him to follow so they could file a report and process the reward. Zichin and Shen Qinghan agreed, and together they accompanied the group as the criminal was led away in restraints. But the relief didn't last. The restrained man suddenly let out a guttural roar, his body twisting and swelling unnaturally. His eyes turned white, veins bulged across his skin, and his muscles expanded violently. The officers were caught off guard as his transformation continued. Someone shouted in panic that he was a heretic, undergoing abnormal mutation right in front of them. His muscles tore through his clothes as he grew larger, his skin darkening and his face distorting into something monstrous. The squad leader quickly ordered his men to open fire, reminding them to protect the civilians while containing the threat. Gunfire rang out as the beast roared and charged at the officers. Despite being riddled with bullets, the transformation gave it frightening strength. Zichin Shen Qinghan and the rescued teacher were pulled back as the fight escalated. Reports spread quickly, calling for reinforcements and warning of a powerful abnormal mutation in progress. Then, with a sudden crash, the monster leapt forward with overwhelming force. Zichin froze for a moment until a figure dropped from above, striking the beast with immense power. It was a mechanical enhanced human, their armored body glowing with energy. The newcomer charged an energy cannon, announcing that it was ready. A blinding beam of light shot forth, blasting the monster backward and silencing its roar. The heretic collapsed, and the crowd watched in awe as the fight ended almost instantly. Zichin, still holding onto Shen Qinghan, was left speechless by the overwhelming display of power. He thought to himself how strong the newcomer was. Shen Qinghan and the teacher, breathing heavily, expressed relief that they had been saved. Zichin pushed his bicycle forward again, grateful they hadn't lost it in the chaos. Just then, something caught his attention. He looked down and realized the Ghost squid meat in his basket was steaming faintly. Zichin examined the Ghost squid meat in his basket and noticed it had indeed spoiled after absorbing its life essence. He realized the meat would eventually deteriorate, only with some delay. To avoid drawing suspicion, he decided to blame the abnormal heretic's disturbance for the sudden change. Acting frustrated, he tossed the ruined meat aside, while Shen Qinghan tried to comfort him, reminding him that what mattered most was that they were safe. Originally, Zichin had planned to head straight home, but the squad leader requested their cooperation. They were asked to ride in the security team's vehicle and return to the station to provide a statement. Sitting inside, Zichin thought about the unexpected aftermath. Even after being destroyed by the energy cannon, the heretic's body had left behind charred tissue that still emitted a sharp, stimulating odor. As his thoughts raced, an idea struck him. He remembered how beast teeth also contained traces of life essence. If that was true, then a heretic's remains might hold the same potential. His eyes widened in sudden realization. What if he could use the heretic's corpse and integrate its essence into his own system? Sitting quietly in the security van, Zichin's thoughts lingered on the battle earlier. He wondered just how much of the Rat King's essence could be absorbed from a freshly scorched heretic corpse. Determined to find out, he reached out and secretly made contact. Energy surged through him, and the system confirmed it. He had devoured a trace of the giant mutant rat's life essence. The strength gained seemed proportional to the amount consumed, leaving Zichin both awed and cautious about its potential. As he tried to mask his actions, one of the guards noticed him stretching and told him to sit still. Zichin quickly brushed it off, claiming he had been sitting too long and only needed to loosen up. While the guard didn't press further, Zichin could tell the captain was far more observant than his subordinates. At the station, the captain directly questioned him, curious about how a middle schooler could throw a rock with such precision in poor lighting, hitting the heretic's hand at the exact right moment. Zichin gave a vague excuse, joking it might be because he often trained his right hand. The two exchanged a silent stare, each aware there was more left unsaid. The tension broke when Shen Qinghan and Aunt Xin entered the room, calling out to take him home. Zichin was surprised, asking why his mother had come in person, insisting they could have returned by themselves, but she rushed to him, hugging him tightly, her voice trembling as she scolded him for scaring her. She pleaded with him to promise that next time there was danger, he would find safety first. Zichin nodded and reassured her that he would. As they left, officers nearby discussed the incident. They spoke of the rat god cult becoming more reckless, infiltrating universities and luring vulnerable students who couldn't legally obtain gene fusion. The man taken down tonight was identified as one such victim, a liberal arts student brainwashed into serving the cult. Hearing this, Zichin clenched his thoughts around one phrase, Rat King. The name echoed in his mind, the weight of what he had just absorbed taking on an even greater meaning. While traveling in the van, Zichin researched the rat god cult and learned their main base was hidden in the southern city, recruiting countless outcasts and believers. The cult's leader, the Rat King, was forcing his followers to gather vast amounts of evolution materials, with the goal of evolving into a higher life form. As he pondered, his attention was caught by a giant rat on the street. Its unusual size made him question whether it was connected to the Rat King. But then he dismissed the thought, reminding himself that large rats weren't uncommon in the south. His focus shifted when he noticed Hanhan sitting quietly beside him. He wondered if her old problem was acting up again. Later, Hanhan sat embarrassed in her room, showing the same issues she had since childhood. She couldn't control herself when nervous or startled. Zichin, however, always suspected this odd condition might be tied to some hidden potential. Meanwhile, their mother was shocked to discover the meat was missing. Zichin quickly made up an excuse, saying he must have dropped it during the emergency. She scolded him, but then brushed it off, more concerned for his safety than the meat. Relieved, Zichin realized he had successfully fooled her. Not long after, his father returned, and the conversation nearly exposed Zichin's lie. When his father asked how he knew the meat had spoiled, Zichin quickly covered it up by saying it was just a guess. At the same time, the security captain, still suspicious of his earlier actions, struggled to understand how a middle schooler had managed to throw a stone so accurately in poor lighting, enough to strike the heretic's weapon hand with precision. The security captain suddenly heard unsettling noises and turned to see a massive rat looming above him. Shocked by its size, he instinctively drew his gun and opened fire as the creature lunged toward him. Zichin sits in the classroom, sighing as he stares at his paper. He thinks back to the fight against the Batman and the female cyborg and admits to himself that he is still far too weak. Determined, he considers studying harder and earning scholarships from competitions, but he realizes the process is much too slow. Another thought crosses his mind: becoming a top student influencer, live streaming tutorials, and selling study materials. For a moment, he weighs the idea, but quickly dismisses it, knowing it is too flashy, even if it brings quick cash. He shakes his head and admits he has the wrong idea. He reflects on the world he lives in, one dominated by DNA fusion users and cyborgs, where martial skills are valued more than academics. Martial arts tournaments hold far greater weight than other subjects. And with that realization, he clenches his fist and decides it is time to take action. At the gymnasium in Building C, the coach is drinking when Zichin walks in and greets him. The coach coughs in surprise at his sudden arrival. Wasting no time, Zichin asks if joining the martial arts team would give him the chance to compete in city tournaments and whether the prizes are high. The coach confirms with confidence that not only will he have a chance, but the prizes are worth tens of thousands. Hearing this, Zichin makes up his mind and declares that from today onward, he is officially part of the martial arts team. The coach smiles, shakes his hand, and welcomes him aboard. The coach then gathers the team and introduces Zichin as the new member. The others respond one by one. Zhang Kai introduces himself, followed by Huang Tianxing, who prefers to be called King. Liu Shudong introduces himself as well, saying he just naturally likes his name. Finally, Wan Yehui introduces himself, asking Zichin to call him Brother Yehui. After hearing them all, Zichin politely introduces himself as Lin Zichin and asks them to take care of him. Since Zichin has no martial arts training, Coach Guo begins with a demonstration of basic fist and leg techniques. He explains that while the moves may look simple, they are actually difficult, and even the fastest learner on the team took a full week to master them. After showing the techniques, he steps aside and tells Zichin to give it a try. Zichin steps forward and begins to imitate the moves. His eyes sharpen, and an instinct awakens within him. As the coach's demonstration replays in his mind, his body flows with precision, guided by a sudden martial insight. His fists and kicks strike with force, his movements seamless as if he had been practicing for years. He executes the techniques one after another with speed and accuracy. Each strike cuts through the air, his kicks carrying both power and balance. The force of his performance leaves trails in the gym, stunning everyone watching. The coach's eyes widen, his jaw dropping as he exclaims in disbelief that it is impossible. He cannot understand how Zichin has mastered the moves after seeing them only once. The rest of the team is equally shocked, wondering aloud how he could learn so quickly. The coach stares harder, realizing that unless Zichin is a once-in-a-million martial arts prodigy, this should not be possible. Later at home, his mother calls out from the kitchen, asking him to grab the bowls because dinner is ready. Zichin rushes out excitedly and asks what they are eating. She smiles and tells him it's the goschido squid he has been craving. Overjoyed, he hurries to the table, praising the smell as incredible. Sitting down, he takes his first bite while his mother urges him to eat while it's hot. He tastes it and immediately enjoys it. His mother asks how it is, and he replies that as expected, her cooking is the best food in the world. Delighted, she encourages him to eat more, saying she bought a full 3 gins. Suddenly, a system notification appears in his mind. It tells him he has devoured a trace of the goschido squid's life essence. Realizing this, Zichin is shocked. He thinks to himself that if eating it directly also works, then he didn't even need to touch it before. The television reports on a genius girl who has shocked the nation. At only 14 years old, she developed an energy core and became the youngest cyborg in history. The broadcast shows her demonstrating her power, her energy system allowing her to lift a 200-kilogram barbell with one hand, jump 3 meters horizontally, and 8 meters vertically. Zichin watches the news and thinks about the comparisons constantly made between gene fusion users and cyborgs. He wonders which side is truly stronger. The program then shifts to a breaking report. Tragedy has struck. Security Captain Hechunshin was killed the previous night in his office, devoured by a giant mutant rat that infiltrated the station. The report makes Zichin uneasy. He recalls the giant bats from last night and realizes these dangerous creatures are appearing more frequently. Knowing this, he tells himself he must intensify his training. Over time, his efforts bring results. His 100-meter sprint reaches 4.61 seconds, and his vertical jump improves to 5.51 meters. He finds he can even lift nearly 100 kilograms with one hand. But he does not stop at raw strength. He continues practicing martial arts techniques daily, determined to boost his power quickly for the upcoming tournament. The next morning at school, Zichin returns to the gym to continue training. But this time Hanrin tags along out of curiosity. On the way, a girl greets him warmly, asking if he has eaten breakfast. She offers him fresh milk, smiling as she insists she brought it just for him. Zichin politely declines, thanking her for the kind gesture, and walks on with Hanrin by his side. His refusal catches the attention of a student who clenches his fist in anger. He thinks back to losing the championship at the sports meet because of Zichin, and now, in his mind, Zichin is stealing attention from the girl he likes. Enraged, he steps forward and shouts for Zichin to stop. He confronts Zichin directly, accusing him of being rude for rejecting the milk. Zichin calmly replies that accepting it only to pass it along would be even more disrespectful. The boy insists that drinking it is the only polite option. Zichin answers that he cannot, because he is allergic to milk. The boy calls him a liar, refusing to believe it, and challenges him outright. Pointing at him, he demands a spar. If he loses, he swears he will never speak to Zichin again. But if he wins, Zichin must drink the entire bottle of milk. As the challenge is set, a notification appears before Zichin, explaining the rules for formal competition. 2 opponents must exchange different offensive and defensive moves, and the one who remains standing is the victor. The system recognizes the situation and registers it as an official spar, triggering the combat achievement for opponent elimination. Zichin smiles with satisfaction, thinking about how he has been waiting for this moment and has finally unlocked the achievement. Facing his opponent, he raises his hand and declares with confidence, "All right, let's spar." 2 girls excitedly gossip about Lin Zichin's upcoming duel against a senior at the gym. Surprised and thrilled, they decide to rush over to watch the match unfold. Inside the gym, a large crowd of students gathers in a circle, creating a ring around the center. The atmosphere buzzes with anticipation as everyone waits for the duel to start. Among the crowd, the purple-haired girl blushes slightly as she cheers for Zichin, telling him to do his best and teach the senior a lesson. Her support stands out loudly in the noisy gym. Beside her, the pink-haired girl smiles confidently, wishing Zichin good luck while holding her phone ready. She plans to capture every moment, promising to take plenty of photos during the fight. The senior looks frustrated, noticing the crowd's attitude. He growls in annoyance, thinking everyone believes he'll lose this match. Determined, he decides to take this chance to crush the talented junior before he grows stronger. He convinces himself it's better to dominate now while he still can. Facing him calmly, Zichin casually mentions that he still has to be home in time for dinner, asking if they can finish the duel quickly. His relaxed tone contrasts sharply with the tension in the gym. The senior smirks darkly, promising to grant his opponent's wish as he prepares to fight with full intent. The referee raises his hand and reminds both sides that this is a spar, emphasizing friendship first before signaling the start of the match. Before the fight begins, the senior suddenly interrupts, shouting to wait. With a confident smile, he mocks Zichin's short training time compared to his own 2 years. To make things fair, he offers Zichin the first 3 moves. Zichin wastes no time and instantly charges forward at incredible speed. The senior is caught off guard, shocked by his sudden movement. Zichin launches forward with explosive speed, his fist driving straight at his opponent. The punch lands cleanly across the senior's face, sending him flying back through the air. He crashes hard onto the ground, lying motionless and defeated in an instant. The referee stares in shock, unable to believe the fight ended with just a single punch. The crowd erupts in disbelief, stunned that the duel ended so quickly. They can't believe it's already over. Cheers break out as students celebrate Zichin's victory, raising their hands in excitement. The 2 girls leap with joy, praising Zichin loudly and calling his performance amazing. Meanwhile, Zichin receives a system notification acknowledging his win and hinting that he must defeat many more rivals to unlock a special ability. With a playful smile, Zichin suggests that his other senior brothers should also take this chance to spar. The crowd of seniors is left stunned, their shocked faces showing they want nothing to do with it. One by one, they come up with excuses mentioning cram school, family dinner, feeling sick, or suddenly needing to leave. In the end, they all walk away together, avoiding the challenge. Meanwhile, the defeated senior struggles to his feet, furious and humiliated. He shouts that Zichin only won because of a sneak attack and insists that if they fight again, he will crush him. The referee tells Zhang Kai to accept his loss, then decides to test if Zichin's punch was luck or real strength by sending another senior, Zio Lizzie, to spar. The call shocks the students, their faces showing nervous anticipation. Zio Lizzie steps forward anxiously, asking Zichin for mercy and begging him not to hit his face. 10 minutes later, the gym floor is littered with defeated seniors. Zichin notes that he held back and only exchanged blows lightly, yet still left all his opponents beaten. Zichin reflects that only his victory over Zhang Kai counted toward his system's progress. The system clarifies that sparring isn't enough, he must fully defeat rivals for it to count. The referee praises Zichin as a genius, noting how he's only been in the martial arts team for a month, yet has already become their ace. Excited, he declares that with Zichin on the team, their school is certain to dominate the upcoming regional martial arts tournament and secure first place. Hearing this, Zichin's eyes light up. He realizes the tournament is the perfect opportunity to face and defeat many opponents at once, accelerating his progress. Zichin thinks to himself that as long as he defeats opponents in official competitions, the system will count it toward his achievement progress. Suddenly, Zhang Kai calls out loudly, drawing everyone's attention. With a battered face, Zhang Kai admits defeat in front of everyone. He swears that no matter what happens from now on, he won't complain or say a word against Zichin. The crowd reacts in shock at his exaggerated declaration, leaving even Zichin and the others surprised. As the training continues, Zhang Kai complains that he hasn't even finished speaking when the others rush off without waiting. On the track, a girl calls out for Zichin to wait, while he encourages her to keep up as they run together. After a long run, the group shifts to martial arts practice, focusing on hand-to-hand combat drills to sharpen their skills. Training intensifies with sit-ups and push-ups, building strength and endurance as part of their daily routine. After each training session, Zichen helps Shen Qinghin relieve her muscle tension with massages. He continues his own rigorous training, determined not to slack off as he prepares for the upcoming martial arts tournament. At last, the long-awaited day of the tournament arrives, and Zichen walks forward with confidence, ready for the challenge. The scene opens inside the city gymnasium, where the massive arena is lit up and filled with anticipation. The stage is ready for the competition, and the crowd waits eagerly for the matches to begin. Back in the contestant waiting area, one student looks at the match schedule with frustration. He points out that their school, Shanghai High, has terrible luck. They've been placed in the same group as Shanghai No, One High, the strongest team in the entire competition. Another teammate joins in, clearly anxious. He explains that Shanghai No, One has an athlete this year who can run the 100-meter dash in under 9 seconds. Hearing that, the team feels the pressure, realizing how overwhelming the challenge ahead of them is. While the rest of the team worries, the green-haired boy steps forward with a calm expression. He raises his hand and confidently tells the coach that he would like to go first, surprising everyone with his determination. The coach agrees to his request and calls Zichen to step up first. The rest of the team looks on with mixed expressions, some surprised, others still anxious about the upcoming challenge. From the sidelines, teammates and supporters cheer loudly, calling out his name and encouraging him not to let them down. They remind him that the teachers believe in him, giving him a wave of confidence as he stretches and prepares himself for the match. Zichen steps forward with determination, his shoes hitting the ground with force. The sharp sound echoes, signaling that he's ready to face what lies ahead. Suddenly, a towering opponent from the rival school approaches him. Recognizing Zichen as a junior from the same school, the man remarks on his talent. He's impressed that someone so young has already made it to the martial stage of the 8-school tournament, acknowledging his potential with a confident grin. The muscular opponent smirks as he mocks Zichen, saying the stage isn't meant for a first-year student who hasn't even reached the height of 1.7 meters. Flexing his arm with confidence, he declares that he will show Zichen the true difference between size and power, making it clear he intends to dominate the match. The referee signals the start, announcing the duel has begun. Both fighters stand ready, the tension in the arena rising instantly. Without hesitation, the towering opponent charges forward with overwhelming force, his body bursting with power as he launches his opening attack. As the match begins, the towering opponent charges in with full strength, but his expression quickly shifts to shock when Zichen effortlessly dodges his strike. In the same instant, Zichen counters with precise speed, landing a powerful blow straight to his opponent's body, catching him completely off guard. The force of the attack sends the massive fighter flying through the air, crashing hard onto the arena floor as the crowd erupts in disbelief. The referee, still stunned by how quickly it ended, raises his voice to announce the result. With clear words, he declares Zichen the winner, leaving everyone astonished by the first year's overwhelming strength. From the stands, Xiao Chen's teammates erupt with excitement. The girl with twin tails cheers loudly, calling his performance amazing. The rest of the group shouts with joy, praising Zichen's incredible display of strength and skill. They joke about his opponent being nothing but stiff muscles, completely inflexible compared to Zichen's speed. Meanwhile, on the losing side, the rival's coach scolds him harshly. He yells about the importance of footwork, frustrated that his fighter rushed in recklessly without listening to repeated instructions. Zichen stands proudly on the stage, the system announcing his victory. His ranking improves, and the progress bar for eliminated rivals rises higher, confirming his success in the tournament. On the rival team's side, the coach orders Chen Feng to take the stage next. He tells him to crush the first year as quickly as possible, making it clear he wants no hesitation. Chen Feng nods and accepts the command with confidence. Stepping into the arena, Chen Feng takes his stance, ready to prove his strength. The crowd watches in anticipation, waiting for the clash to begin. The referee raises his hand and signals the start of the match, announcing for the duel to begin. Chen Feng wastes no time. The moment the match starts, he charges forward at full speed, launching his first attack straight at Zichen with overwhelming momentum. As the fight begins, Zichen swiftly closes the distance. With lightning speed, he strikes Chen Feng directly, his attack landing with overwhelming precision. The force sends Chen Feng spinning uncontrollably through the air, his expression twisting in shock and pain. He crashes hard onto the stage, the impact shaking the ground as the audience gasps at the sudden and brutal outcome. Medical staff rush in immediately. They place Chen Feng on a stretcher, urgently instructing to send him to the hospital for a head scan after the heavy blow he suffered. The crowd erupts in disbelief after the match. Some spectators claim the student from Shanghai High is unbelievably lucky, recalling how his last opponent disqualified himself by running off the stage. Others shout angrily, insisting the fight must be rigged and demanding refunds. But not everyone agrees. A few recognize that this isn't luck at all. They admit that the first-year student is the real deal, showcasing genuine skill that can't be denied. Frustrated, the rival coach clenches his fists and calls for his next fighter, Gao Fei. He warns him to play it safe, telling him to focus only on defense and never take risks, insisting that he must not lose this round. With calm confidence, Gao Fei steps forward. He assures his coach not to worry, promising victory as he heads onto the stage. Gao Fei steps onto the stage with confidence. He believes Lin Zichen isn't physically strong and only relies on agility and tricks. In his mind, the outcome is clear. He runs the 100 meters in under 9 seconds and has far more combat experience. As long as he takes this fight seriously, there's no way he can lose. The crowd discusses Gao Fei's abilities in awe. They say his father is a gene fusion user, which means Gao Fei's stats are already beyond normal. Many spectators believe the first year from Shanghai High might finally be done for, though some admit that once Zichen matures, he will surely dominate the scene. The referee raises his arm and signals the start of the match, announcing the duel to begin. As soon as the call is made, both fighters spring into action. Gao Fei charges forward aggressively, aiming to overpower Zichen with his speed and strength, while Zichen braces himself for the clash. Gao Fei launches into an aggressive assault, unleashing his technique called flowing water, shattering rock fist. He drives forward with a barrage of punches, aiming to overwhelm Zichen. From the sidelines, his coach shouts in frustration, reminding him of the strategy. He had told Gao Fei to stay defensive, not to recklessly attack, but Gao Fei ignores the instructions. In Gao Fei's mind, he scoffs at the idea of defense. He believes that a genius like him doesn't need to defend. On the other hand, Zichen carefully watches each strike, analyzing the rhythm of Gao Fei's technique. He decides to observe closely so he can learn and adapt. Despite Gao Fei's flurry of blows, none of them connect. Panic begins to creep into his thoughts as he wonders why he can't land a single hit on Zichen, no matter how many punches he throws. Gao Fei grows frustrated as none of his attacks connect. He demands to know how Zichen is dodging everything so easily, calling it impossible. Zichen remains calm, taunting him to bring out all his moves if that's all he has. Enraged, Gao Fei takes the taunt personally. He unleashes another barrage of punches, determined to land a blow no matter what. But Zichen stays composed. Noting that Gao Fei is still repeating the same moves, he decides it's time to finish the fight. With explosive speed, he counters with a decisive strike. The crowd watches in shock as Gao Fei is struck down. Their wide-eyed expressions reflect disbelief at how quickly the battle turned in Zichen's favor. The crowd erupts with cheers, calling Xiao Chen a beast and praising his incredible streak. His teammates celebrate with excitement, amazed that he has already claimed 3 victories in a row. Zichen stands tall in the arena, his fist raised with quiet determination, while his fallen opponent lies unconscious at his feet. His dominance is undeniable. Time passes as Zichen continues his matches. With unshakable composure, he defeats every challenger that steps forward from Shanghai No. 1 high. One after another, his opponents fall until none are left standing. Zichen wipes out all 5 fighters from the strongest team, leaving the arena in awe of his overwhelming power. With his unmatched performance, Zichen successfully leads Shanghai High to win the championship of the 8-school tournament. The team celebrates as the trophy is lifted high above the stage. Despite the triumph, Zichen remains focused. The system updates his progress, showing that he has eliminated 16 rivals so far. But he still needs to defeat hundreds more to unlock the full potential of his ability. He realizes it could take years to achieve. Later, Zichen is pleasantly surprised when Mr. Guo rewards him with the bulk of the tournament prize money. The large sum astonishes him, far more than he expected. Counting his total savings from various competitions, Zichen beams with excitement. With nearly 30,000 yuan earned, his efforts have not only brought glory to his school, but also secured him a significant reward. Though Zichen had managed to save up 30,000 yuan, the money didn't last long. Much of it was quickly spent on valuable resources. At home, he devoured large amounts of Ghost squid meat, rapidly increasing his codex unlock progress. His determination to grow stronger pushed him to consume more, steadily raising his power. By the 2nd year of middle school, his progress became clear. What once seemed impossible was now effortless. He could lift a massive boulder with one hand, leap several meters in a single bound, and sprint 100 meters in just over 4 seconds. Time flew by, and with hard work and perseverance, both Zichen and Shen Qinghan successfully graduated from Shanghai's middle school division, marking the end of one stage of their journey and the beginning of another. The entrance exam results are released. Zichen secures first place in both liberal arts and martial arts, but Qinghan, despite excelling academically, falls short in martial arts and doesn't meet the cutoff for Shanghai High's elite class. Sitting together, she laments her hard work and wonders if this means they can no longer attend the same school. Zichen tries to comfort her, though he doesn't have all the answers. He explains that the principal of Shanghai High has already arranged to visit his home and asks Qinghan to come with him. Tears stream down her face as Qinghan protests. She says the visit has nothing to do with her, questioning why she should even go. Still, her feelings reveal her fear of being left behind. Zichen reassures her with confidence. He explains that his condition for staying at Shanghai High is simple. Qinghan must be his desk mate. Hearing this, she follows him, her worries beginning to ease. The principal of Shanghai High visited their home and sat down with them, spending hours in serious discussion to settle important matters. When the talk came to an end, she stood by the door and mentioned that everything necessary had already been explained. Before leaving, she reassured Zichen that as long as he chose to remain at Shanghai High, he was welcome to speak his mind about anything else. At that moment, Zichen voiced his only request. He wanted Shen Qinghan to stay in the same class with him, revealing how important it was to him. The principal confirmed Shen Qinghan's name, making sure she was the student being referred to. With a smile, she instructed that when the new school term began, both Zichen and Shen Qinghan should come together to Shanghai High. Hearing this, the 2 students were overjoyed and gratefully thanked the principal for her decision. Later, it shifted to another scene. Zichen once again proved his strength by easily helping Shanghai Junior High secure the championship title. The tournament concluded with Zichen's team emerging victorious, his decisive strike overwhelming the opponent. With the prize money he earned, he decided it was time to fulfill his long-awaited goal. Standing deep in the forest, he reflected that he was only 20% away from unlocking the Ghost Squid Codex, and the resources he bought from the prize should be enough to complete it. Without hesitation, he began the process, devouring the Ghost Squid's life essence as streams of energy surged through his body. The Ghost Squid Codex finally reached 100%, marking the completion of Zichen's progress. A system message confirmed the successful unlock, granting him a new biological ability blessing of liquid affinity. At first, he found the blessing somewhat underwhelming, unsure of its true value. To test it, he entered a nearby pond and noticed changes. His skin no longer wrinkled after long periods in water, and swimming became easier due to reduced resistance, though no other effects were apparent. After testing his new ability, Zichen admitted that the Ghost Squid was only a low-tier mutant beast, not even worth gene fusion. He realized he would need higher-grade meat in the future to gain stronger biological attributes. He thought ahead, imagining the day he could become powerful enough to hunt and devour wild mutant beasts. His determination focused on creatures like the giant mutant rats, promising himself he would one day reach that level of strength. With less than a week before school started, his mother and Shen Qinghin's family suggested a trip together. To further explore the effects of his liquid affinity, Zichen recommended they go to the beach. At the beach, Shen Qinghin stepped into the water, shivering as she complained about how cold the seawater felt. Meanwhile, Zichen swam skillfully, telling her that it always felt cold at first, but she would get used to it soon. Feeling left behind, Qinghin called out to him, asking not to swim alone and instead teach her how to swim as well. Zichen suddenly realized he had forgotten that Qinghin didn't know how to swim yet, and he quickly turned his attention back to her. Zichen began teaching Qinghin patiently, though he doubted her average athletic ability would allow her to grasp swimming quickly. To his surprise, Qinghin immediately proved him wrong, quickly adapting and claiming swimming was actually easy. She dove under the water, her movements fluid and confident, surprising even herself with how naturally it came. Wide-eyed, she realized she could now dive freely, something she hadn't expected at all. Qinghin splashed out of the water, excitedly boasting about how easily she had adapted. She pointed out that most people found it painful to open their eyes underwater at sea, yet she felt no discomfort at all. In fact, she enjoyed it. Zichen watched closely, realizing that even with natural talent, it was impossible for someone to master all swimming skills so quickly. Something about her progress didn't seem normal. Shocked, he suddenly stopped himself and muttered in alarm, realizing there might be more to this than simple talent. Watching Qinghin, Zichen suddenly wondered if her unusual behavior and natural skill in water meant she was actually born with water affinity. The thought grew bolder. He even imagined the possibility that she might possess a special constitution like those described in cultivation stories. They continued diving together, and her performance left him even more astonished. Both of them held their breath underwater for over 10 minutes. For a trained person, that was already impressive, but for a beginner like Qinghin, it was nothing short of unbelievable. While swimming, Qinghin suddenly froze, sensing something unusual in the water. She picked up on a strange sound echoing through the depths, something completely unnatural. Zichen also noticed it, alarmed as he looked around in confusion, unsure what could be causing the disturbance. In the next moment, both of them burst out of the water, gasping for breath, as the mysterious sound's presence grew even more unsettling. After surfacing, Zichen noticed Qinghin looked uneasy and asked why she was suddenly so nervous. She admitted she had been hearing strange sounds near her ear, so unsettling that they gave her chills. When Zichen pressed for details, she explained that it sounded like a woman's voice speaking in an unfamiliar language. The sound had echoed non-stop until she left the water. Later, Zichen searched online, trying to find anything that matched her description, but came up with nothing. Unable to sleep, Zichen threw himself back into training. performing thousands of weighted sit-ups until his stats advanced to ordinary Tier 5. Reaching this level meant he could now rival adult giant mutant rats, a milestone he had long been aiming for. He clenched his fist with determination, convinced that if he kept pushing forward, even tearing apart mutant beasts with his bare hands wouldn't be impossible. To test his new strength, he went to the empty beach at night, where his sprinting and jumping abilities showed a dramatic increase. Unable to sleep, Zichen returned to his training, pushing himself through thousands of weighted sit-ups until his stats advanced to ordinary Tier 5. This breakthrough meant he had finally reached a level strong enough to rival full-grown giant mutant rats. With renewed determination, he believed that if he continued pushing forward, even tearing mutant beasts apart with his bare hands wouldn't be impossible. Eager to test his progress, he sprinted along the empty beach at night, his speed and agility showing a dramatic leap beyond his previous limits. While helping with class duties, Zichen was surprised to find that the task actually triggered a new quest, rewarding him with a new attribute called Social Animal. Curious about what this new attribute might do, he kept it in mind while carrying on with his day. Since school was still quiet, he took the chance to visit the supermarket. As he walked through the aisles, he reminded himself that with the Goshido Squid Codex complete, it was time to set his sights on a new target. The savage giant eagle soars across the night sky, a mutant beast ranked slightly higher than the Goshido bird. Its presence alone shows its superiority in strength and dominance. Its vision is incredibly sharp, up to 30 times greater than that of a human. This extraordinary eyesight makes it a beast with overwhelming natural power. Because of this sharp vision, its hunting skills are unmatched. Even swift and elusive creatures like shadow-like mutant rabbits cannot escape its precise strikes. The Codex explains that such eyesight would massively boost combat ability, making the eagle worth unlocking. On top of that, its meat is affordable, ranking as the second cheapest among mutant beasts, adding even more value. He devours the savage giant eagle's essence, which increases the Codex progress by 1%. Realizing that each portion of meat only raises progress slightly, he calculates it would take over 200,000 yuan to fully unlock the Codex. Determined, he resolves to work harder in high school, aiming to earn prize money through martial arts tournaments, which offer much greater rewards than those in junior high. As summer vacation ends, he steps into a new chapter of life, beginning his journey at Shanghai High School. The instructors introduce themselves covering martial arts cultivation, mechanical augmentation, wilderness survival, and gene fusion, setting the stage for the new class. A girl named Chu Yuxi introduces herself, mentioning her hobbies like chess, calligraphy, and painting. Next is Yang Yijia, who cheerfully says she enjoys anime, cosplay, and sports. Finally, Peng Huiguang stands up, admitting that he usually just stays home and plays video games. When it's Shen Qinshin's turn, she grows nervous with so many eyes on her, struggling to introduce herself. Blushing, she timidly says she likes drawing and asks everyone to take care of her. Afterward, Lin Zichen gives the shortest introduction in the class, simply stating his name and looking forward to working together. Time passes quickly as introductions end. The bell rings, and a classmate suddenly asks Qinshin about her score on the entrance exam. Qinshin hesitantly reveals her entrance exam score, saying she achieved 709, then asks Chuxin about hers. Chuxin responds with admiration, surprised that Qinshin's score is more than 10 points higher than hers, as she only scored 698. Smiling brightly, Chuxin praises Qinshin while comparing their results. She then asks about Qinshin's physical test score, admitting she performed poorly herself and only managed to get 95, which she found embarrassing. Qinshin admits she didn't do as well, feeling embarrassed since her score was 5 points below the cutoff for the elite class. Chuxin, curious, guesses her result, asking if it was around 94 or 93. With her head lowered, Kinshin softly replies that it was a little lower than that. Chuksin keeps pressing, wondering if it was 92, 91, or maybe even 90, making Kinshin even more uneasy. The tense moment is broken when Lin Zichen steps in, immediately drawing attention as he approaches Chuksin. He casually asks to add her on WeChat, leaving her flustered but excited, quickly agreeing to exchange codes. Kinshin feels relieved, thinking that Zichen saved her from the awkward situation, unsure how she would have responded otherwise. Zichen then turns to another classmate, suggesting they add each other too, keeping the interaction light and casual. After exchanging contacts, he casually creates a 4-person group chat named Dawn Squad. Unexpectedly, the system notifies him that he has already completed another group establishment task, granting him progress automatically. The narration shifts to Hiyu, whose family has run martial arts schools in Nuanshan City for generations. A true martial arts clan, he even ranked 8th in the city's youth tournament, bringing honor to his family. Meanwhile, Lai Chuksin comes from a wealthy background, as her family owns a chain of clothing stores spread across the district, making her a well-off rich girl. Kinshin and Zichen also introduce themselves, and soon the 4 of them grow closer, quickly becoming inseparable friends. During their casual conversation, Hiyu suddenly brings up a question, asking who they think is the strongest in their class. Chuksin confidently guesses that it must be Zichen, since he was the top scorer in the entrance exam across the entire district. Shocked, Hiyu reacts in disbelief, amazed to learn that Zichen is actually that powerful. Hiyu explains that being the top scorer doesn't necessarily make someone the strongest. Their class has 2 powerful students personally recruited by the principal from Nangjun City. The first is Wang Shili, who ranked 3rd in Nangjun's entrance exam. His 100-meter sprint time is an astonishing 7.98 seconds. The second is Lu Gang, a massive student with overwhelming physical power, capable of lifting a 300-kilogram barbell with one hand. Everyone reacts in shock and amazement. Kinshin and Chuksin are stunned, while Zichen remains calm, noting that such feats were equal to his own elementary school level abilities. The bell rings again, signaling the start of textbook distribution. 4 core subjects are handed out, each with its own study material. Since he had already self-studied all of them in advance, Zichen decides to spend his time training in a quiet place instead. He reflects on the looming threat of the Mad God cult. The police have only captured small groups of their followers, but the cult's leader has yet to reveal himself. Zichen knows he must continue growing stronger to face such dangers. Later, during survival training, the instructor gathers the students in the forest and asks if anyone knows how to create fire using friction. Hiyu dismisses the idea of learning survival skills like making fire, calling it useless in daily life. To his shock, several classmates easily demonstrate the skill, quickly producing smoke and flame through friction. The instructor is surprised, asking how they even know such techniques at their age. One student explains he took an extracurricular course in middle school, while another casually adds that he picked it up online back in elementary school. After the demonstration, the rest of the students begin practicing fire starting. Zichen quietly helps his Dawn Squad teammates by giving them extra tips. Later, during the martial arts cultivation class, the instructor announces they'll be learning a special breathing technique, drawing everyone's attention. The students eagerly follow along, and even though Zichen already knows all of it, he stays low-key, keeping his knowledge hidden. Time quickly passes, and after a month since the start of school, the instructor announces that it's time to test their progress. The instructor announces that the upcoming exam will include rewards 888 yuan for first place, 666 yuan for second, and 333 yuan for third. Zichen is surprised to hear about the cash prizes, quickly calculating that first place alone would earn him enough to buy nearly half a jin of savage giant eagle meat. The rewards spark excitement, and the entire class becomes highly motivated to give their best effort in the test. Meanwhile, the gene fusion instructor Lynn Darren also holds a separate exam with the same rewards and difficulty, doubling the stakes for the students. After finishing the exam, He-Yu slumps over his desk in exhaustion, relieved that it's finally over. Outside, Wang Shili asks how he did. He-Yu replies that he'll likely score around 95, only missing the final sub-question. Wang Shili laughs, admitting he also missed the same part and expects a similar score. Annoyed by their casual bragging, another classmate clenches his fist, thinking how much he wants to punch them both for showing off. As sunlight filters into the classroom, the teacher steps to the front holding a stack of papers. His tone carries a mix of excitement and tension as he announces that the scores for the mechanical augmentation test are finally out. The students immediately sit up straight, their eyes fixed on him, waiting to hear the results that could shape their academic standing. Among the students, a girl beams with joy as she turns to her friend, Zio Chen, proudly saying that she passed. Zio Chen, calm and composed, congratulates her with a gentle smile, saying her efforts have paid off. His words carry quiet confidence, reflecting mutual respect and acknowledgement of her hard work. The announcement quickly spreads across the classroom, sparking whispers and excitement. One of the students exclaims in surprise, amazed at He-Yu's performance. The others join in, admiring her achievement. Beams of sunlight fall across her desk as her classmates look toward her, impressed and inspired by her success. Meanwhile, another student leans back in his chair with a proud grin, his demeanor relaxed yet self-assured. He mentions that even the teacher seems quite optimistic about his potential. Pretending to be modest, he says it was just luck that the test aligned with what he studied. Then, with a playful smile, he promises his group that once he receives the third-place reward, he'll treat everyone to a hearty meal to celebrate. The teacher continues announcing the results, revealing that Lu Gang and Wang Shulis both scored 95 points. He praises their performance, noting that they were only one question away from achieving a perfect score. His words carry genuine admiration for their effort and consistency. One of the top scorers steps forward, expressing his frustration that the final question required heavy calculations. He confidently states that with 10 more minutes, he could have solved it completely. His friend agrees, both of them showing pride in their near-perfect results as the teacher encourages them, saying he believes in their abilities. Nearby, another student clenches his fists in irritation. He curses under his breath, annoyed that those two managed to outperform everyone again. Still, he tries to calm himself, thinking that even if they're ahead, third place should still belong to him. The classroom falls silent when the teacher suddenly announces that someone actually scored full marks on this extremely difficult test. Everyone looks up in surprise as the teacher smiles proudly and declares the name Lin Zichen, with a flawless score of 100 points. The room is filled with awe and disbelief as Lin Zichen quietly claims the top spot. The classroom erupts in disbelief as the teacher announces Lin Zichen's perfect score. The top students, who had confidently expected to dominate the rankings, are completely shocked. Their eyes widen in frustration, unable to comprehend how anyone could achieve 100 points on such a difficult exam. One of them mutters angrily that even the best academic stars from Nanshan City couldn't match Zichen's performance. He clenches his fist, frustrated not only by Zichen's strength, but also because he lost his spot in the top 3. Determined not to let it happen again, he silently vows to work harder next time. Meanwhile, Zichen sits calmly at his desk, unfazed by the attention. He raises his hand and casually asks the teacher when the prize money for first place 800 yuan will be given out. The class falls silent for a moment, surprised at how casually he brings it up. The teacher, holding his phone, replies that he'll send the prize to the class group as a personal red envelope. Watching Zichen's calm but money-focused attitude, the teacher can't help but wonder to himself, is this guy really that broke, or just that practical? The teacher stands before the class, holding a stack of papers, announcing that the results for the gene fusion exam have been fully graded. The atmosphere grows tense as students wait to hear their scores, knowing how tough this test was for everyone. He reveals that the Nangyuan duo, Liu Gang and Wang Shuji, scored 81 and 83 respectively. For a test where most participants failed, their scores were considered excellent. Yet, both of them sit slouched over their desks, clearly unsatisfied they had aimed much higher and hated not being able to show off their strength. The teacher then mentions Shen Qinghan, who scored 78 and secured a place in the top 5. Her friends look at her in awe, their eyes wide with admiration. Despite the difficulty of the exam, her consistent performance earns her well-deserved recognition. Finally, the attention shifts to Lin Zichen. Once again, he managed to achieve a perfect score, full marks for the second time in a row. With a calm smile, he crosses his arms as his classmates react in disbelief. For He Yu, Wang Shuji, and Liu Gang, it feels like another heavy blow to their pride. The classroom erupts again as two students jump to their feet, frustrated by the results. They shout that the test was far too difficult for anyone to achieve full marks. Suspicion fills the room as one of them questions if Lin Zichen somehow already knew the answers beforehand. The supervising teacher furrows his brows in disbelief. He insists that such a thing is impossible. Every question was unique and carefully designed by him. His expression hardens as he reminds the class that none of the answers were ever uploaded online, leaving no room for cheating. As realization dawns on them, the accusers are left speechless. They exchange nervous glances, realizing their argument holds no ground. Their confidence crumbles in front of the entire class, unable to justify their claims. From the back of the room, a student bursts into laughter, mocking them for being sore losers. She sarcastically says they're embarrassing Nansuan City by accusing someone else of cheating just because they lost. Another classmate joins in, ridiculing Wang Shuji for being petty and calling him uncultured, proving that jealousy can make even intelligent people act foolishly. After a tense morning filled with exams, lunch break passes in an instant. Soon after, Class 1 of Year 1 gathers outdoors to begin the next challenge, the Wilderness Survival Exam, a physical test meant to push every student to their limits. The instructor stands before them, explaining the exam details and rewards. The top 3 scorers will receive 888, 666, and 333 yuan respectively, just like the previous tests. The challenge includes 3 main parts: rock and tree climbing, swimming, and starting a fire by friction, each designed to test skill, strength, and endurance. Meanwhile, Wang Shuji turns to Liu Gang, frustration still burning in his voice. He reminds him that they've already lost to Lin Zichen in both the morning theory tests and martial arts. Determined not to let history repeat itself, he insists that they must reclaim their honor during this survival exam. Liu Gang clenches his fists, his eyes filled with resolve. He declares that he doesn't need any reminder this time. He'll give it everything he's got and crush Lin Zichen to erase the humiliation once and for all. As Zichen calmly stands ahead, unaware of their brewing rivalry, the tension in the air grows thicker. The Wilderness Survival Exam begins, and the first challenge is tree and rock climbing. The results depend purely on speed and endurance. As soon as the signal is given, students race upward, gripping rough surfaces and fighting against gravity. Lin Zichen swiftly takes the lead, leaving everyone far behind. His movements are smooth and precise, showing complete control and strength. Liu Gang and Wang Shuji push themselves desperately, but they can't even see his shadow. Despite their best efforts, Zichen dominates once again, ranking first in the climbing segment. However, Lin's focus shifts to Shen Qinghan. While he finishes effortlessly, she struggles midway, her hands trembling as she climbs. Despite giving her best, she fails to complete the rock climb and ends up in last place, an outcome that clearly frustrates her. Next comes the fire-making portion. While others struggle to create sparks, Lin Zichen completes the task with astonishing speed, igniting a flame in just 58 seconds. Watching him work flawlessly, his classmates are left speechless, wondering how one person could be so skilled at everything. The next phase of the survival exam moves to swimming, testing both endurance and agility. Lin Zichen glides through the water effortlessly, his movements precise and fast. Shen Qinghan, surprisingly, matches his pace with an unexpected burst of strength. The others watch in disbelief, unable to comprehend how both of them are performing at such a high level. Wang Shuji and Lu Gang push themselves to the limit but can't catch up. Exhausted and drenched, they eventually collapse by the poolside, unable to accept yet another defeat. The narrator remarks that after the wilderness survival exam, the two became unusually quiet. They didn't even speak for a long time. Days later, the students gather in the gym for the martial arts test after a month of training. The instructor announces that it's time to evaluate their progress through sparring matches. The top 3 performers will earn prizes, and the room fills with excitement. For some students, this is their long-awaited chance to shine. Lu Gang and Wang Shuji's determination reignites. Flames of motivation seem to burn behind their eyes as they clench their fists. They tell themselves that even if Lin Zichen excels in theory and survival, martial arts is a different story. If you're weak in combat, they think, your other achievements are meaningless. With renewed confidence, they vow to reclaim the first place they once lost. Before the martial arts sparring session, instructor Han Yuanfeng begins with a physical assessment to warm everyone up. The test includes 3 categories: 100-meter sprint, single-hand barbell lift, and vertical jump height, all designed to evaluate overall physical capability before the actual combat matches. The students line up as the test begins. Lin Zichen takes his position for the sprint, his focus sharp and movements precise. When the signal goes off, he launches forward with explosive speed, completing the 100-meter sprint in just 7.78 seconds, astonishing everyone present. Next, during the barbell challenge, Zichen easily lifts 330 kilograms with one hand, displaying incredible strength that leaves even the strongest student stunned. His calm and steady expression makes it seem almost effortless, which only adds to the crowd's disbelief. Finally, in the vertical jump test, he reaches an impressive height of 2.18 meters, securing first place in all 3 categories. Yet, despite dominating every challenge, Zichen holds back slightly, intentionally keeping his performance modest to avoid standing out too much. Even so, he still surpasses Lu Gang and Wang Shuji with ease, further widening the gap between them. Wang Shuji and Lu Gang stand frozen in disbelief after the results. Their jaws drop as they try to make sense of Lin Zichen's performance. How could he have sprinted faster than them when he was only a district-level athlete before? They mutter in frustration, wondering if he somehow transformed overnight. Wang Shuji tries to calm his partner down, saying that losing the physical test doesn't mean they'll lose in sparring. Real combat isn't just about raw strength, it's about skill and technique. Lu Gang nods in agreement, convinced that their martial experience will help them regain their pride. Inside the gymnasium, 2 dueling rings are prepared for the sparring matches. Students gather around the edges, excitement buzzing through the air. Lin Zichen, confident and composed, decides to step up first to complete his survival of the fittest achievement as quickly as possible. But his overwhelming performance in the earlier tests makes everyone hesitant to face him. Even the Nangyuan duo holds back, quietly observing from the sidelines. Standing in the center of the ring, Lin Zichen sighs to himself, realizing that if no one challenges him soon, the teacher might grow impatient waiting for the match to start. Seeing that no one volunteers to face Lin Zichen, the instructor decides to choose an opponent himself. He calls out for Lu Wei to step into the ring and spar with Zichen. The class immediately turns their attention to the stage, eager to see how the match will unfold. The 2 step forward and take their stances. The atmosphere turns tense and silent as they lock eyes. Neither speaks, both waiting for the other to make the first move. The air between them feels heavy with pressure, every student watching closely. Without wasting a second, Lin Zichen lunges forward with explosive speed. His movements are sharp and calculated, closing the distance in an instant. He strikes before his opponent can react, determined to end the fight quickly and efficiently. In a blur of motion, Lu Wei is sent flying across the ring, the match ending almost as soon as it began. Zichen wins effortlessly. As he steadies his stance, he thinks to himself that if he wants to defeat everyone in class before the bell rings, he'll need to finish each battle this swiftly. The sparring session continues as Lin Zichen faces his next opponent, a female student who confidently steps into the ring. But before anyone can blink, she's sent flying across the stage by a swift, clean strike. The audience gasps, realizing how effortlessly Zichen ends each fight. Wang Shuji and Lu Gang, watching from the sidelines, are left stunned. Their eyes widen as they finally start to grasp the gap between their abilities and Zichen's. Shuji mutters in disbelief, wondering if Zichen had even used his full strength during the physical test earlier. The frustration builds until Lu Gang suddenly leaps over the barrier, unable to hold back any longer. His pride burns inside him as he decides to challenge Zichen directly in front of everyone, determined to prove his worth once and for all. Landing inside the ring, Lu Gang points straight at Zichen and declares that he's ready. With fire in his eyes, he shouts that he's fully warmed up and in his best form, yet then dares Zichen to face him head-on in a real fight. The room falls silent as everyone anticipates the clash between them. Lu Gang steps into the ring, radiating confidence. He glares at his opponent and boldly declares that he'll finish the fight within 30 seconds. His determination burns hot. He's desperate to prove himself and avoid facing Lin Zichen next, whose strength has already intimidated the entire class. Across from him, his classmate tightens his stance, thinking that while he may not stand a chance against Lin Zichen, he can at least take down Lu Gang. Both fighters brace themselves, fists raised, as the crowd leans forward in anticipation. With a loud shout, Lu Gang charges in aggressively. His movements are fierce and direct, throwing a barrage of powerful punches and kicks. Each strike echoes through the gym, showcasing his raw physical strength and pent-up frustration. As the fight intensifies, Lu Gang lands a decisive blow, sending his opponent staggering back. The impact shakes the ring, and for a brief moment, he smirks, feeling a surge of pride. He may not be ready to face Lin Zichen yet, but this victory gives him a glimmer of hope to redeem himself. The battle escalates as Lu Gang launches into a fierce offensive, spinning and striking with incredible force. His opponent tries to block, but is quickly overwhelmed by the sheer power behind each move. The crowd watches in shock as Lu Gang dominates the fight with relentless energy. With a final powerful throw, Lu Gang sends his opponent flying across the ring. The student crashes to the floor with a heavy impact, the thud echoing through the gym. Gasps fill the air as the fallen student struggles to get up, coughing and clearly unable to continue. Lu Gang stands tall, panting but satisfied. His opponent clutches his stomach, blood spilling from his mouth as he admits defeat. The brief moment of silence is broken only by the sound of heavy breathing and the faint echo of the earlier collision. Smirking with pride, Lu Gang praises his fallen opponent, saying his technique was the strongest among all he's fought so far. However, with a confident grin, he adds that he's still the better one just by a notch. His victory restores some of his lost pride, but the shadow of Lin Zichen still lingers in his mind. After winning his previous match, Lu Gang turns toward Lin Zichen and confidently calls him out, inviting him to spar. Lin, unfazed, accepts the challenge without hesitation, seeing it as the perfect opportunity to make further progress while no one else dares to step onto the stage. Lu Gang grins, trying to hide his nerves behind forced bravado. He declares loudly that he's not afraid and is ready to fight head-on. The air in the gym grows tense again as the crowd holds its breath. eager to witness the long-awaited showdown between the strongest students. With a fierce battle cry, Liu Gang charges forward with all his strength, throwing a powerful punch aimed straight at Lin Zichen. His movements are fast and heavy, his confidence pushing him to attack without restraint. But before he can even realize what's happening, Lin Zichen's counterattack sends him flying through the air like a ragdoll. The match ends in an instant, leaving the spectators in stunned silence. Lin stands calmly in place, his composure unshaken, as everyone around him struggles to process what they just witnessed. Liu Gang roars as he charges forward with full force, swinging a powerful punch toward Lin Zichen. But Zichen's movements are sharp and precise before Liu Gang even realizes it. His strike hits nothing but air. His eyes widen in shock at how effortlessly Zichen evades his attacks. In the next instant, Lin Zichen counters with a devastating blow that sends Liu Gang flying backward across the ring. The impact is so intense that the floor trembles upon contact. The entire class gasps in disbelief, staring at Liu Gang's fallen form, completely overwhelmed. The audience quickly shifts their attention to Wang Shuji. Some students start teasing him, shouting that his friend just got destroyed. They urge him to step up and defend Nangyuan City's reputation, calling him the last hope of their so-called elite duo. Flustered and irritated, Wang Shuji grits his teeth. The taunts get to him as he snaps back angrily, yelling for everyone to shut up. With determination burning in his eyes, he climbs into the ring, declaring that he was already planning to fight anyway. The tension spikes as the next battle is about to begin. As the crowd quiets, Wang Shuji steps into the ring, his heart pounding but his expression calm. Across from him stands Lin Zichen, his presence commanding, his gaze sharp and unshaken. The atmosphere feels heavy, as if the entire gym is holding its breath for what's about to happen. Wang Shuji clenches his fists, pushing aside his hesitation. His eyes burn with determination as he charges toward Lin Zichen, shouting that he's going all out this time. The floor trembles beneath his steps as he channels every bit of his strength into a single strike. But Lin Zichen doesn't flinch. As Shuji's punch comes flying toward him, Zichen meets it head-on with flawless timing. Their fists collide with a thunderous impact, the shockwave rippling across the arena, leaving the spectators frozen in awe. The force of Zichen's counter overwhelms Shuji instantly. His body twists mid-air, his expression shifting from determination to disbelief as the blow sends him flying backward across the ring. Shuji crashes to the ground with a deafening thud, dust scattering around him. He lies there motionless, steam rising from his body as the crowd erupts in stunned silence. Lin Zichen stands tall, calm and composed, his dominance once again unquestioned. After defeating Wang Shuji, Lin Zichen doesn't slow down. With calm precision, he steps forward and begins taking down the remaining boys in Class 1 by one. Each challenger rushes in with confidence, only to be effortlessly countered and sent crashing to the ground. No matter who attacks, the result is the same. Zichen moves with flawless rhythm, dodging, striking, and finishing each fight in seconds. His calm expression never changes, while his opponents are left stunned and breathless. The arena soon turns silent, with students scattered on the floor in defeat. Zichen remains standing tall, barely breaking a sweat, as if the entire match was just a warm-up for him. He recalls the rule of the survival of the fittest exam. Defeating the same opponent multiple times doesn't add to his score. With a thoughtful look, Zichen pauses, already planning his next step, knowing he's still far from done proving his strength. After Lin Zichen's overwhelming display, the classroom buzzes with excitement. The girls blush and whisper among themselves, impressed by his strength. One of them suddenly raises her hand, her confident voice cutting through the noise as she steps forward with a challenge. With determination in her eyes, she shouts, "Zichen, I want to challenge you." The room falls silent, and everyone turns to watch as she walks up to the stage, her energy fierce and unwavering. Without hesitation, she lunges forward, her body moving with impressive speed and precision. Her leap fills the air with intensity as she aims a direct attack at Zichin, determined to prove herself. But Zichin reacts instantly. His reflexes are unmatched, he sidesteps effortlessly and counters in a blink. The impact is swift and controlled, leaving her stunned by his speed and the sheer difference in their power. The girl lands gracefully after missing her strike, brushing her hair back with a small smirk. She mutters to herself that she almost managed to grab Zichin, her eyes still gleaming with admiration and frustration mixed together. Her bold attempt inspires the others. Soon, more girls step forward, volunteering to challenge Zichin one after another. Their cheers fill the room as he calmly accepts, his movements composed and confident even against the growing line of challengers. Zichin handles each match swiftly but gently. He makes sure not to hurt anyone, only focusing on completing his task efficiently. His calm expression never falters, and each opponent is left blushing and defeated within moments. Once the matches end, the instructor steps forward, praising everyone's performance. He announces that as elite students, they'll soon face the strongest class of the second year. The entire room buzzes with determination, especially Zichin, who silently prepares for the next big challenge ahead. Lin Zichin stands confidently, slightly annoyed that he hasn't had any new matches to speed up his survival of the fittest progress. But his frustration quickly fades when two familiar figures appear, Lu Gang and Wang Shuji, approaching him with renewed determination. Lu Gang steps forward first, declaring that from now on, he'll be Zichin's rival throughout high school. His tone is filled with pride and defiance, as if he's finally found someone worth chasing. Zichin listens quietly, amused by his confidence. Wang Shuji follows, his glare sharp as he vows to erase his humiliation before graduation. Zichin smirks, thinking how even these challenges help him earn rewards and progress faster toward his goal. He mentally notes that today alone, he's gained over 3,000 yuan. As the two storm off, muttering about his arrogance, Zichin clenches his fist with satisfaction. Their anger doesn't bother him, if anything. It fuels his motivation. With a confident grin, he thinks about using his hard-earned money to buy beast meat. Perfect, he murmurs, ready for whatever comes next. As night falls over the city, Lin Zichin sits in his room reflecting on the day's progress. Despite earning some rewards, he realizes it's still not enough to buy beast meat or unlock the codex. The thought fuels his determination to find a faster way to make money. Determined not to waste time, he opens his laptop and starts typing furiously. His fingers move rapidly across the keyboard, ideas flowing non-stop. The quiet of the night is broken only by the sound of keys clicking as he pours his focus into something new. Deciding to take a different route, Zichin registers as a web novel author, hoping his writing skills might help him earn extra income. As he writes through the night, a sense of purpose and curiosity drives him forward. When morning arrives, he checks his phone and freezes in surprise. A message from an editor greets him. His story has caught attention. They invite him to sign a contract and serialize his novel. Zichin stares at the screen, realizing his unexpected side project might just turn into his next big achievement. After signing his web novel contract, Zichin scrolls through the latest news and stumbles upon a shocking report. The article describes a fierce battle between a cyborg unit and a massive mutant rat that terrorized the outskirts of the city. The creature was enormous, over 5 meters long, with muscles rippling beneath its dark fur. It had torn through armor and even devoured one of the cyborg soldiers whole, leaving chaos in its wake. Cornered and critically damaged, the cyborg made a desperate choice. It activated its hidden backup energy core, preparing to self-destruct and take the monstrous rat down with it. A blinding explosion followed, shaking the entire area. The mutant rat was obliterated instantly, leaving behind nothing but scorched debris. Zichin watches the footage in silence, the glowing light reflected in his eyes as he wonders what kind of power could create such destruction. After watching the report about the mutant rat, Zichin can't shake off the thought. He wonders how many more of these massive creatures are still hiding in Shanghai City and how they managed to remain undetected for so long. The next day, the scene shifts to Shanghai High's gymnasium. The bright morning contrasts sharply with the dark thoughts lingering in Zichen's mind. Training is about to begin, and everyone gathers for their next challenge. Their instructor briefs them on the upcoming matches, explaining the tactics of their opponents. The rival class is stronger as a group and known for exhausting their enemies through rotation battles. He warns everyone to stay alert and face each fighter head-on. The students respond in unison with confidence. As the ground trembles from the first fighter's powerful stomp, Zichen's eyes narrow, ready to face whatever comes next. The calm before the storm has just ended. As the sparring event begins, Zichen immediately volunteers to go first. He knows that to complete his survival of the fittest achievement, he must defeat as many opponents as possible. The earlier he steps on stage, the faster his progress will grow. However, a blonde girl raises her hand nervously, voicing her concern. She explains that the opposing team's first fighter is their strongest, while she's the weakest in her class. Facing them head-on feels impossible. Across the ring, one of the rival instructors questions Teacher Han's decision. He reminds him of the unspoken rule that the weakest student should fight first, not the strongest. Sending out Zichen immediately seems like an unfair move. Teacher Han quickly steps in, ordering Zichen to stand down and let the weaker classmates go first. Zichen pauses for a moment, realizing he'll have to wait his turn, but his determination doesn't fade. His eyes stay fixed on the stage, ready for when his chance comes. Zichen steps down from the stage calmly, acknowledging his teacher's command. Though slightly disappointed, he keeps his composure and waits for the next chance to prove himself. Teacher Han then calls on Yuntong to fight first. Startled, she panics, admitting she isn't ready yet. Her nervousness is obvious as she hesitates, unsure if she can handle the pressure. Before she can step forward, another girl with twin pigtails raises her hand, reminding Teacher Han that she's actually the weakest and should be the one to start. Her expression shows a mix of fear and determination. Both girls enter the ring, but tension fills the air. The pigtail girl's legs tremble as she faces her taller opponent. She thinks to herself how nervous she feels, realizing this will be her toughest match yet. The students cheer from the sidelines, shouting words of encouragement. "You got this, Hanhang." Their voices echo across the gym, trying to boost her morale before the fight begins. Despite the support, Hanhang's hands tremble as anxiety takes over. The crowd's attention only makes her more nervous, and she can feel her heart pounding louder with every second. Her opponent wastes no time launching forward with explosive speed. The blonde girl's strike comes down fast and fierce, giving Hanhang barely a moment to react. But as the attack descends, something shifts. Hanhang clenches her fists and counterattacks instinctively, channeling all her fear into a desperate burst of strength. The clash fills the ring with blinding energy. Hanhang braces herself, covering up to block the blows. She knows victory is out of reach, but if she can endure long enough, she might wear down her opponent's stamina. Minutes pass, and the blonde girl starts to notice the change. Despite her relentless attacks, Hanhang refuses to fall. The longer it continues, the more tired the stronger fighter becomes. Realizing she can't drag it out, the blonde girl decides to end it quickly. She launches a powerful strike, pouring everything she has into one decisive blow. The impact sends Hanhang crashing onto the floor, her body trembling from exhaustion. Though defeated, her endurance leaves everyone in the arena stunned. Hanhang steps off the stage, exhausted but holding her head high. Despite her defeat, her endurance has earned her silent respect from her classmates. Teacher Han smiles, giving her a thumbs up. He praises her for using defense and stamina drain as her strategy, an intelligent move against a stronger opponent. Zichen approaches and congratulates her warmly, acknowledging that she lasted over 3 minutes against an upper-year student. Encouraged, she nods proudly, her confidence slowly returning. Meanwhile, the next match begins. Another girl charges forward, determined to take advantage of her opponent's exhaustion, ready to turn the tide of the class battle. The next fight starts with a flurry of movement. The brunette student charges in, hoping to catch the blonde off guard, but her kick is swiftly countered. The blonde dodges effortlessly and retaliates with a powerful blow to the opponent's midsection, throwing her balance off completely. With precise timing, she follows up with another strike, sending the brunette stumbling backward before she even has time to recover. The match ends with the brunette pinned to the ground, crying out in pain and surrender. The blonde stands tall, calm and composed, asserting her dominance in front of the entire class. The blonde senior stands over her defeated opponent, criticizing her for attacking without defense and daring to underestimate the regular class. She then smirks and tells the fallen girl to come back after another year of training, confident in her superior experience and skill. As the blonde steps down from the stage, her calm arrogance fills the room, leaving the rest of the students burning with determination. One of the girls clenches her fist and steps forward. Declaring she'll avenge her classmate, she prepares to challenge the senior head-on. The fight reaches its climax as Chu-Zin delivers a fierce and decisive strike, sending her opponent crashing to the ground with a heavy thud. The impact echoes across the training hall, leaving the crowd in stunned silence before they erupt into cheers. Chu-Zin stands tall, breathing steadily, her victory clear for everyone to see. Among the spectators, her friend leaps up with excitement, eyes sparkling as she raises her hand high, shouting how amazing Chu-Zin is. Her pride and admiration fill the air as she watches Chu-Zin's confident stance, knowing how hard she trained for this moment. As the excitement settles, the boy standing next to her smiles and acknowledges her contribution. He tells her that she was incredible too if she hadn't drained the opponent's stamina earlier. Chu-Zin wouldn't have won so easily. The girl nods happily, agreeing with a cheerful "yeah," feeling satisfied that their teamwork truly paid off. On the other side of the court, two upperclassmen watch the match's aftermath. One of them, grinning confidently, teases that Brother Feng's class now only has 4 members left. With that, he reminds Feng of their bet, declaring that he's definitely earned a free meal this time. The friendly banter marks the end of an intense round filled with strength, strategy, and pride. As the crowd celebrates the previous match, one of the upperclassmen warns his friend not to get overconfident yet. He reminds everyone that the real strength of Class 1, Grade 1, lies with Lin Zichen, Wang Shuiji, Lu Gang, and He Yu. The atmosphere shifts as he smirks, knowing that the real showdown is only about to begin. The confident student calls out the next fighter, He Yu. With a sharp grin, He Yu cracks his knuckles, eager to step into the ring. His confidence radiates as he acknowledges the call, ready to show what he's capable of. He leaps forward energetically, landing on the stage with explosive force. The sound echoes through the hall, drawing everyone's attention as his presence alone sends a chill down their spines. With a calm but intimidating smile, He Yu clenches his fists tightly, saying that his hands have been itching for a fight. He challenges his opponent, asking if they're ready to face his rock-hard punches, signaling that this battle will be far more intense than the last. The next challenger steps onto the stage, smirking confidently as he faces He Yu. With arms crossed, he mocks He Yu, telling him to stop acting so arrogant and cringy. His words are filled with overconfidence, clearly underestimating his opponent. He Yu's expression darkens instantly. Without hesitation, he charges forward, furious that his moment was ruined. His punch lands with a loud impact, sending the arrogant student flying backward before anyone can react. The boy crashes hard onto the ground, crying out in pain as the shock runs through his body. The spectators gasp at the sudden one-hit defeat, realizing He Yu's power is no joke. Standing tall above his fallen opponent, He Yu coldly mocks him back, saying that if someone of his level can only insult others, then he's nothing but trash. His words echo through the arena, leaving everyone silent at the display of dominance. The match continues with heavy tension as the opponent slams his foot onto the ground, creating a sharp echo that signals his readiness to fight. Both fighters lock eyes, neither willing to back down. The larger fighter glares at Hiyu and shouts angrily, calling him arrogant for his earlier attitude. His muscles tense as he prepares to strike, determined to crush his opponent's confidence. With a burst of power, he lunges forward, throwing a massive punch and declaring that he'll show Hiyu what real strength looks like. The air ripples from the sheer force of his movement as the blow races toward its target. But to his shock, Hiyu swiftly dodges at the last second. The powerful punch slices through empty air. Eyes widening, the attacker realizes Hiyu's speed is far beyond his expectations. He can't believe his attack was completely avoided. Before the opponent can recover from his surprise, Hiyu counterattacks with lightning speed. His powerful kick lands cleanly, flipping the opponent into the air as the crowd gasps in disbelief. The impact shakes the ring, showing just how overwhelming Hiyu's strength is. The opponent crashes heavily onto the ground, the sound echoing through the arena. His body trembles in pain as he lies defeated, unable to move after taking such a devastating blow. Watching from the sidelines, Chuzin and her friends cheer loudly, their excitement overflowing. They shout for Hiyu to keep going, urging him to beat the remaining opponents without holding back. Their energy fills the hall, boosting Hiyu's momentum even further. Fueled by their cheers, Hiyu moves like a storm, knocking down several more challengers one after another. His strikes are precise and brutal, leaving his opponents unable to stand. The once confident rivals now watch in awe, realizing that Hiyu's power is far beyond their expectations. Hiyu delivers another devastating punch, his fist connecting squarely with his opponent's face. The crowd watches as the opponent is sent flying backward from the sheer force, completely overpowered. Without hesitation, Hiyu charges again, shouting for another round. His next strike lands perfectly, flipping the next challenger into the air and slamming them onto the ground with brutal precision. Energized by his winning streak, Hiyu pumps his fists and calls for the next opponent to step up. He boasts that he can still take down 10 more, his confidence burning bright even as his breathing starts to grow heavier. Despite his determination, exhaustion begins to show. After defeating 5 in a row, his stamina starts to fade. When facing his 6th opponent, Hiyu is finally overpowered and falls in battle. By then, Class 1, Grade 1 has only 3 members remaining, while their rivals from Grade 2, Class 6 still have 13 fighters standing strong. After Hiyu's defeat, the instructor calls out for the next fighter to step in. His voice echoes through the gym as he announces, "Wang Shuiji, you're up." The crowd shifts their focus, anticipation building as a new contender steps forward with fierce determination. With a confident smirk, Wang Shuiji responds immediately, shouting that he's ready. He launches himself into the ring, his body radiating power as he charges forward at full speed, fists clenched and eyes locked on his target. The battle erupts with incredible intensity. Wang Shuiji dominates his opponents one after another, his strikes precise and devastating. Each punch sends another challenger crashing down, until he's taken out 10 in a row without breaking a sweat. Watching from the sidelines, one of the rival students looks on in disbelief. He admits that he doesn't even remember Class 1 having such a powerful fighter. His expression turns serious, realizing that this new challenger has completely changed the momentum of the match. One of the instructors smiles calmly and explains that the new powerhouse, Wang Shuiji, recently transferred this semester, which is why the others didn't recognize him. With a confident tone, he reminds his colleague about their bet, teasing that the loser will have to treat the entire opposing class to a meal. The other instructor realizes he may have underestimated his opponent's class. Watching Wang Shuiji's strength, he thinks to himself that no matter how skilled Lin Zichen is, it'll be nearly impossible for him to defeat a monster like that. Teacher Han then turns toward Lin Zichen and tells him it's his turn to step into the ring. He advises Zichen to focus on learning from the fight rather than worrying about the outcome, hoping he'll treat this as a valuable experience. But Zichen remains calm and confident, a faint smile forming on his face. He tells Teacher Han not to worry because he's going to win. His determination leaves everyone in silence, setting the stage for a clash that no one expected. As Lin Zichen steps into the ring, his opponent, a massive, heavy-set upperclassman, eyes him with disbelief. He wonders if this skinny junior is really their final ace and confidently declares that he doesn't bully the weak, underestimating Zichen's calm presence. From the sidelines, Chu Xin and her friends shout encouragement toward Zichen while hurling insults at the bulky opponent. They call him out for his arrogance, vowing that Zichen will crush him and threatening to turn him into meat patties after the match. The large student glares intensely, his aura flaring as he prepares to fight. He clenches his fists and growls that Zichen should come at him with everything he's got, radiating both confidence and mockery. With a smug grin, the giant taunts Zichen, saying he'll stand still for 10 moves to make it fair. His tone drips with condescension, completely unaware that underestimating Zichen will soon become his biggest mistake. The large opponent smirks and says he doesn't want the crowd accusing him later of bullying the weak. His condescending tone fills the arena, and the spectators can sense his arrogance as he prepares to toy with Lin Zichen. Zichen simply scratches his head, calm and unfazed. With a light smile, he casually agrees, his relaxed demeanor showing he's completely unbothered by the taunts. The crowd whispers, unsure if he's confident or just naive. The bulky fighter spreads his arms wide, his muscles tightening as he declares he'll stand still and let Zichen attack with full force. His body radiates energy, creating a pressure that shakes the air around him. But before anyone can blink, Zichen moves. His fist shoots forward like lightning, slamming directly into the giant's stomach. The force ripples through his massive frame, leaving everyone stunned by Zichen's explosive power. The moment Lin Zichen's punch lands, the enormous fighter's body lifts clean off the ground. The impact is so strong that it sends shockwaves through the air, and the crowd can only watch in stunned silence as the giant soars backward. The heavy-set opponent crashes violently into the floor, creating a massive crater beneath him. Dust and debris scatter across the ring, leaving everyone momentarily frozen at the sheer force behind Zichen's single blow. As the dust settles, silence fills the gym. The once dominant fighter lies face down, completely motionless, while all eyes turn toward Zichen, who stands calmly in the center of the arena. Then, the crowd erupts with cheers. Chu Xin and her friends jump with excitement, shouting that Zichen has won. Their voices echo through the hall, celebrating his overwhelming victory that turned doubt into awe. As the dust begins to settle, the massive fighter slowly regains consciousness, sitting up in confusion. His eyes widen as he looks around, unable to process what just happened. During a school discussion, one teacher excitedly mentions that Zichen from Feng's class is unbelievably strong. He even took down Wang Jin with a single punch. Another teacher compares Zichen's power to Wu Tiancheng, a former student who was known for his terrifying strength back in his first year. Curious, one of the students asks who Wu Tiancheng is. The teacher explains that he was a senior from a few years ago, someone whose presence alone used to intimidate the entire school. Wu Tiancheng once cleared out the elite third-year class during his first year, shocking teachers and school leaders alike. His legacy still stands as a symbol of unmatched power. The teacher continues to describe Wu Tiancheng's unbelievable feats. He could sprint 100 meters in just over 6 seconds, jump nearly 4 meters high, and lift a 650-kilogram barbell with one hand. Hearing this, Zichen laughs nervously, admitting he's a little scared but also impressed. Inwardly, he compares Tiancheng's power to his own strength back in elementary school. Later that evening, everyone gathers at Mingxiang restaurant, the air filled with celebration and chatter. Their homeroom teacher keeps his promise and treats the class to a meal. With excitement and pride, the students raise their glasses, cheering loudly for Zichen's victory. The restaurant bursts into cheers as everyone raises their glasses, shouting Zichen's name in excitement. The room fills with laughter and celebration over his impressive victory. Some classmates eagerly crowd around him, asking how he trains his body and whether he has any secret techniques. Others quickly try to befriend him, asking to connect on social media. Zichen, now famous after defeating the senior class, starts to feel slightly uncomfortable with all the sudden attention. Amid the noise, Hannah quietly keeps adding food to his bowl, just like she always did. When Zichen notices her gesture, she looks up, surprised and flustered, her face turning red as their eyes meet across the table. As everyone continues celebrating, Hannah suddenly excuses herself, saying she needs to go to the restroom. Zichen watches her leave while the others laugh and make lighthearted jokes. One of the guys comments that Hannah still hasn't changed, always caring for others, and apparently still rushing to the restroom at random moments. Walking down the hallway, Hannah overhears a group of girls gossiping cruelly. They mock her, saying she only got into the elite class because she clings to Zichen. The girls continue whispering, calling her a servant who constantly attends to him. They sneer that her talent is nowhere near Zichen's and that she'll soon be left behind. Hurt by the cruel gossip, Hannah clenches her fists and insists she's not a bootlicker. Her voice trembles, but her determination is clear. Gathering her courage, she declares that she's not just anyone, she's Zichen's childhood friend, someone who's stood by his side since they were kids. Later that night, as they walk home together, Zichen notices her silence and gently asks if something's wrong. Trying to lighten her mood, Hannah recalls her mother's old words that growing up would make everything easier. Yet, deep down, she realizes that some insecurities never truly fade. As they continue walking, Hannah lowers her voice and admits something deeply personal. Despite growing older, she still wets the bed and has to wear a diaper every night. The confession clearly embarrasses her. Her voice trembles as she tells Zichen she feels broken, like someone who's disabled and can't even control her own body. Zichen looks at her seriously, his calm gaze filled with reassurance. He tells her firmly that she isn't disabled. Placing his hands gently on her shoulders, he smiles and says that maybe this strange condition is her hidden gift, a superpower that just hasn't awakened yet, trying to ease her pain through humor and kindness. Surprised by his words, Hannah looks at him wide-eyed and repeats, almost in disbelief, that what she has is a superpower. Zichen smiles confidently, explaining that her strange condition is actually a form of water affinity, one part of her hidden potential that just hasn't awakened yet. Hannah, curious now, asks if Zichen also has a superpower, since he's always been so strong ever since they were children. Laughing softly, Zichen admits that he does, just like her. He too has a special power. The two walk together under the night lights, their bond feeling stronger than ever. Hannah excitedly wonders what kind of superpower she'd have if her abilities were real. Her eyes sparkle with curiosity, showing a rare moment of joy. Zichen chuckles and confidently replies that whatever her power is, it would definitely be something incredible and strong. As they continue walking through the city, their peaceful night is interrupted by a sudden commotion ahead, a group of people shouting orders about exterminating rats for public safety. A man nearby screams in panic, begging them to stop as he tries to protect the rats, calling them his brothers. The calm night suddenly turns chaotic. The man screams in fury, yelling about his brothers being killed again, his eyes wild with rage and grief. Swinging a broom like a weapon, he charges at the workers, ready to fight anyone who harms the rats he calls family. Watching from a distance, Hannah nervously asks if the man is insane. Zichen calmly replies that he might just be mentally unstable. As the situation grows tense, Zichen takes Hannah's hand and suggests they head home. She nods quietly, and the two walk away together under the fading city lights. A week later, a news report shocks the city. A young female teacher went missing after leaving school, and no one knows where she is. As the report plays, Zichen sits with his friends, watching in concern. One of them comments that several young women have been disappearing lately, asking if this is already the fourth case this month. Another calmly corrects her, saying it's actually the fifth. The realization leaves the room tense and uneasy. The news anchor warns that all the missing victims are young and attractive women. Authorities urge everyone to avoid going out at night alone and to stay in pairs for safety. Zichen's mother reminds him to keep an eye on Hannah, warning that it's not safe outside with all the recent disappearances. Zichen smiles and reassures her that he'll take care of her. Meanwhile, at the local security station, officers investigate the strange case involving the man who attacked people earlier. A doctor examines him, and an officer asks whether the man is mentally unstable. The doctor replies that it's still unclear. He adds that despite his efforts to communicate, the man refuses to speak a single word. It's as if he's completely mute. One of the officers quickly points out that the suspect isn't mute at the market. He was shouting non-stop in a fit of rage. The realization shocks the doctor, who suddenly senses that something about the man feels off. Without warning, the restrained man begins trembling violently, his body expanding and bones cracking. In horror, the officers watch as the man transforms into a massive, terrifying mutant rat. They immediately call for backup, shouting for mechanical reinforcements before the creature breaks loose. A monstrous rat-like beast rampages through the city streets, its body burning with fiery energy. The police open fire from all sides, bullets lighting up the air, but their weapons barely make a dent. One officer reports urgently that all cyborg units are already deployed elsewhere, and reinforcements will take 10 minutes to arrive. The chief clenches his teeth, knowing they're running low on ammunition and time. Realizing the danger, the chief orders his team to retreat. They plan to lure the monster toward the outskirts to buy time until backup arrives, covering each other as they fire and fall back. The blue-haired officer rushes to the car, slamming a button on the dashboard. The engine roars to life as they prepare for a desperate escape. The officer slams the accelerator, gripping the wheel tightly as sirens wail through the night. The team braces themselves, knowing the monster is right behind them. The chief shouts for the driver to head toward the mountain, hoping to draw the creature away from the city and buy precious time before reinforcements arrive. The police van speeds through winding roads and tunnels, its flashing lights cutting through the darkness while the roaring beast gives relentless chase. With a thunderous crash, the monstrous rat smashes through debris, its jaws wide open as it closes in on the fleeing vehicle. A monstrous rat creature rampages through the city as officers unleash a hail of bullets, flames bursting from its body with every shot. Despite their efforts, the beast remains unstoppable, pushing forward through the gunfire. The chief receives grim news: all cyborg units are deployed elsewhere, and backup will take at least 10 minutes. Running low on ammo and options, he orders his team to retreat. The officers rush to the vehicle, determined to lure the beast away from civilians. The police van speeds through the night, sirens blaring as the monster charges after them. The chief shouts for the driver to head toward the mountains to buy time until reinforcements arrive. But the creature doesn't relent. It smashes through the road, debris flying as it gains ground. The van loses control and crashes down the slope, flipping violently before landing in ruin. The blue-haired officer crawls out, barely conscious, thinking it's already too late. The creature roars above the wreckage until a sudden explosion engulfs its face in fire, shaking the night sky. Just as the creature roars in triumph, a high-pitched signal cuts through the air. From above, a sleek armored woman locks onto the target, her mechanical wings flaring as several missiles launch toward the beast. Explosions rip through the night sky, engulfing the monster in waves of fire. She calmly utters a single word, ending the assault in one devastating strike. Smoke clears, revealing a massive crater where the rat once stood. Yet to her surprise, the creature has burrowed underground and vanished. She notes that it's growing smarter, adapting faster than before. Analyzing the scattered remains, she concludes that it's still gravely wounded and nearby. As the city rests under the faint glow of dawn marked by the clock striking 3 a.m., a brief silence returns, but the threat is far from over. Elsewhere in the city, a calm young man sits at his desk, typing rapidly under the dim glow of his screen. He's been writing non-stop for weeks, producing thousands of words each day. His work has nearly reached 100,000 words, and his income already exceeds 10,000. He reflects on his progress, noting that once his new book's recommendation slots are used, his stats and earnings will grow even higher. Satisfied with his steady improvement, he decides to step outside for a quick test of his training results. In a quiet alley free from cameras, he begins to move. His speed blurs the air, his body cutting through space as he sprints faster than ever before. His 100-meter dash now takes just over 3 seconds, and his leaps reach impressive heights. Landing smoothly, he clenches his fists in satisfaction. If his progress continues at this rate, he believes he might one day attain a level of mastery beyond human limits, perhaps even achieving sainthood through sheer physical power. While testing his abilities, the young man senses something unusual nearby. His expression hardens as faint growls echo from the dark alley ahead. He steps forward cautiously, the sound of claws scraping against the ground growing louder with every step. A foul stench fills the air as a shadowed figure appears before him. A deformed humanoid creature crawls out, trembling as it mutters apologies. It calls him brother, begging for forgiveness, claiming it was driven by hunger and never meant to harm anyone. The young man's eyes widen in shock as lightning flickers around him. He quickly realizes the truth: this isn't human anymore. It's the same mutant rat from the earlier attack, now evolved into a monstrous rat man. Realizing the danger, the young man decides to retreat immediately and inform the authorities. But before he can escape, the creature calls out, promising it no longer needs to eat him, it can simply hunt other humans instead. Hearing those twisted words, the man freezes for a moment. The monster's hunger turns wild as it charges forward, howling about its craving for human flesh. The young man grits his teeth, realizing there's no way to outrun it. Its speed is far beyond normal, and dodging seems impossible. With no other choice left, he prepares to face it head-on. Both figures clash in a violent burst of motion. The monster lunges with deadly force, while the man meets its attack with full determination, the air cracking from the sheer impact of their collision. The rat man staggers back, clutching its chest in disbelief. It snarls in confusion, wondering how a mere student could possess such overwhelming strength. It lowers its guard for a split second, watching the boy's calm yet focused stance. The alley falls silent except for the creature's labored breathing. Suddenly, the beast's instincts scream in warning as debris shifts and a heavy object crashes toward it. Before it can react, the boy launches forward like a blur. Determined to end the battle before the monster recovers, he unleashes a rapid barrage of strikes, each one filled with precision and power, refusing to give it even a moment to fight back. The monster thrashes violently, refusing to die easily. Its body swells with dark energy, releasing a furious roar that shakes the alley. But the young man doesn't back down. He channels every ounce of power left in his body, striking the creature with relentless force, blow after blow. The rat man's movements slow as its body begins to collapse, the monstrous form crumbling into a pile of twisted flesh and smoke. Panting heavily, the young man lowers his guard, staring at the remains. The street falls silent, and he mutters under his breath, wondering if the beast is finally dead.